One-time supports are now available through the Diorama Workshop Super Thanks. For a complete list of available decals, blueprints, and tutorials, visit my website and select Speed Index from the Tutorials pull-down menu. If you enjoy my art and want to support my content, why not become a patron? There are 5 brand new tiers for 2024, with lots of cool member access as well as major discounts for all of my Etsy shop decals, blueprints, and SVG digital files. Your support will help me cover part of my art supply costs and will allow me to continue making diorama tutorials like this one.
I want to give a huge thank you to Chris Jones for sponsoring today's video.
Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. Today we're doing the very first of the Mega Death Star diorama project, and it is the Darth Vader versus Kenobi Duel diorama. Not only does this contain the back room, but you have the front facade of the docking bay over here. Now the coolest part is when you turn the lights on, because it's all LED lit. Maximum reflection on the floor. This is exactly like you see in the movie. Now this is the first time these decals were made available. They are all 100% movie accurate, down to the missing little neon that you see over there. Having actual lights in your diorama give you the actual reflections in your Star Wars figure, like in Darth Vader's helmet over here. So if you want to build this, you came to the right place. My name's Frank DiOrio. You're watching DioramaWorkshop.com. Here's everything you're going to need in order to make your Mega Death Star Vader vs. Kenobi Duel room. You're going to need some black foam core, some white foam core, 2mm balsa wood, some scissors, some black glossy vinyl for the floor, a cork ruler, X-Acto pen or an X-Acto blade knife with some X-Acto refills. You're going to need a black Sharpie, a black poster board, a pencil sharpener and a pencil, and a color pencil for your CRICUT decals. I'm using Prismacolor Cool Gray PC 1067 to match my decal colors. You're going to need a hot glue gun refills. You're going to need the free decals, the free blueprints, some straws, a paintbrush, a little lid for your paint, and then some Art Store acrylic paints, white, black, and some gray. I just wanted to insert this because in the material list that I just mentioned, I talked about paint and paintbrushes. Well, that was a huge disaster. So what I did in the meantime is that I created 2 new pages, 23 and 24, which is your new skins for your straws. So no more painting of the straws. You're going to be wrapping it in the skins like this. Some black electrical tape, some tracing paper, masking or painter's tape, some LED strips, and LED connectors, and what am I missing? Oh yes, you're going to have to build yourself a large Blastdoor as well. However, there's a slight modification to it, so before you jump to that separate tutorial and make it, watch this video in order to know what layers you have to change before assembling it all together like this. Okay, in order to find your blueprints and decals, go to my website, dioramaworkshop.com, click on Tutorials, Speed Index, scroll down to Star Wars A New Hope, and find Mega Death Star Vader vs. Kenobi Duel. Click Yes under the decals. This will bring you to this page. Here you have all the previews of all the different pages inside the PDF. Keep scrolling down until you reach this icon. Click on the thumbnail and you'll open the PDF. You can print from here or save it onto your PC or Mac desktop. Return to the Speed Index Mega Death Star Vader vs. Kenobi. This time click on Blueprints. Now the Blueprints folder was too large for a PDF, so I had to zip it. So what you'll do is click on this, it'll download the zip file, and then you can just click on it to open the PDF and then print all the pages. If you're doing LED walls like I am and have a CRICUT maker, just go to Tutorials, CRICUT SVG in the submenu, scroll down and find the Death Star versus KENOBI Duel. Click on that, and then you'll have a preview of your 3 SVGs. Go down here until you find your wall 1, wall 2, wall 6. Click on each of them to download the zip file and open, save this to your desktop. So if you grab your blueprints, the first thing we're going to do is on page 1, we have all of our measurements. If you're doing only decals, then you'll be cutting out this exact size, 19 centimeters by 25 centimeters wide on both pieces. However, for my version, I'm doing light up LED boxes. So I'm going to be removing these 2 sections and replacing them with the light up boxes. So I'm only going to need to cut a 6.5 piece over here and a 6.5 piece over there. And when these 2 are going to be glued to the 12 centimeter box over here, we're going to get the full 25 centimeters that we need in order to assemble it. The same thing on this wall with this LED box. So what I'm going to be doing is cutting 4 pieces, 1, 2, 3, and 4, that are 19 centimeters tall by 6.5 centimeters wide. 3, which is the arch, docking bay backgrounds left and right, docking bay background center. You're going to have to build yourself a Blastdoor wall, layers 1 through 10 using the basic instructions, and layer 11 will be using this specific dimensions over here. Then on page 2, we have more cuts we're going to do. Wall 4, 5, 6, 7, blast doors left and right, blast door end caps. We have the docking bay pipe shaft top, and then the docking bay pipe shaft fronts. If you don't want to do the full 3D version of this, you'll be able to just use a decal and not have to go through all the steps, but you'll still have to do the cutting of this size. And last but not least, wall 8 and wall 9. Now on page 7, we have the dimensions for our main room ceiling. So we're going to be cutting this in black foam core, and this piece is what is going to be laying on top of the main room over here. For the curved hallway portion of the ceiling, this we're going to be using the templates on the next 2 pages in order to place it here. For the curved ceiling, you're going to be taking these 2 pages, we're going to cut it out, and then we're going to use our light table to align the A and the X with this sheet in order to give us the proper size of the template, and we'll be able to use this after to trace onto the foam core to get our ceiling shape. For the ceiling frames, we're going to need to cut these materials in white foam core and the support beams in white foam core as well. For the main room ceiling, we're going to have to cut in white foam core these horizontal frames, vertical frames, and spine supports. So for walls 1 and 2, the double neon strips, I'm going to be replacing the decals with the light up LED boxes. So we're going to need to cut out in white foam core these pieces over here, and the top will have to be cut using balsa wood over here. Wall number 6 is the triple neon wall, and this also I'm removing the decals and I'm going to be creating an LED light up box for this. And you'll be needing to cut out these pieces in balsa wood and these pieces in white foam core, as well as the white foam core rear. Now we'll need to cut a large 51.5 centimeter by 76 centimeter base for your floor. This is going to be where the whole room is going to be sitting on. Since I'm doing the Mega Death Star where it's going to be stacked, I'm going to have to cut myself these optional support side walls left and right, and the rear wall optional support over here. Okay, the measurements took me over 3 hours to do, so I'm just going to time lapse everything in order to make the video a little shorter. Wall number 6, I'm doing completely an LED light up box, so I'm not going to be cutting out this at the moment. But if you are doing only decals, you need to cut out the 15 by 18 centimeter wide black foam core shape over here. It's easier for you if you cut this out now because it'll be smaller for you to manipulate in order to do all the measurements for the inside pieces that we need to cut out later. Let's start cutting our white foam core now. All that's left to measure is balsa. Okay, we're now going to work on our template. Now to facilitate it, because of the printer stops at the edges there, we're going to trim this flush so that we don't have any white that'll confuse us on the side pieces over here, and then we'll be able to start aligning them. So I want to trim off this top piece. So I'll just go to where the blue stops, remove the white, and the same thing here. Then I have a flush, clean blue like this for this piece. Page 10 is the same thing, except we're going to trim this and this. Now it's relatively simple. Align the A with the A and the X with the X. Now I have a light table to help me see through a little easier in order to align perfectly. Now you don't need the light table, but it's something that's nice to buy and it's not that expensive and you'll be able to use it for other projects. Find your alignment of your A and your X and you'll see that the edges pretty much arrive where they're supposed to be. I forgot to mention that you're going to need some Scotch tape as well. And then you use your Scotch tape to keep them in place. I don't need this anymore. Turn this around, add some extra pieces of Scotch tape here to make sure that it stays flat. We have our curved ceiling template. Now we need to transfer the template onto the black foam core. Now you could take scissors or your X-Acto and trim around all the contours like this and then use your pencil to trace around it. But then I found that's doing too much work because you could use the magic of this, a thumbtack. What you want to do is just take some painter's tape here, attach the template to the foam core so it doesn't jiggle around. Now we're going to take the thumbtack and we're going to poke into the corners of all of our shapes. And then for the outsides, the same thing, where the lines connect. So poke over here. Don't poke too deep. You don't need too deep. Just enough, you'll be able to see it. Now I'm going to do the insides. Make sure your shape is always flat so that you don't have a distortion. Now we can remove our tape. You'll see it comes off really easily. You can see that the pin went through the paper. I don't know if you could see on the black, but we have our poked holes. If you're feeling brave, you could cut now, but let's be safe and trace our shapes with the pencil first. So we just need to find our dots, and then it's like connect the dots like when we were kids. We have our actual ceiling now. What we'll be cutting out is these white zones. Make sure to squiggle those. We don't want to get confused and cut out the wrong pieces. Make sure to identify this front top. Now we can put this aside. So we have all of the foam core and balsa wood shapes traced, the measurements that is, and so we'll be able to start cutting. Remember, when you cut, don't angle your knife like this. You want to stay 90 degrees to the table surface. I'm going to time lapse this as well because it's going to take at least 3-4 hours for me to do this. When you get to the edge of a piece like this and you don't want your ruler to tilt, you can take one of your other pieces and just use it as a balance in order to press your ruler properly to cut this side. Hi, Roxy. As usual, I don't see the cats all day. As soon as I start cutting, that's when they show up. That went a lot faster than I expected. It took me only 45 minutes to cut all the pieces. So now I just need to sort them out, put all the walls together, the beams together, the spines together, so that it'll be easy to access, and then we'll be able to start gluing and applying the decals. Now I'm going to cut my main room ceiling where the light's going to shine through, and because I want this to be precise and clean, I'm going to get a new blade. Always be careful with your fingers when you change a new blade because you can really hurt yourself. I'm going to tilt my knife so that this end is 90 degrees with the floor over here. I'm going to poke in the corners, and then I'm going to stop just before I reach the end. If you extend your blade too far, you're going to cut into the frame part, which you want to keep clean. Remember not to angle your blade. Carefully align. Start here. Poke down. Then I'm stopping just before the end. Now I'm going to flip it around. Now I'm going to do the poking on this end. Now I can turn it. I'm going to do the same thing. Now for these sides, I'm going to start at the corner and I'm going to stop before I reach the end here. I don't want to go through and cut into this beam section here. Flip this around. Now I want to flip on this side. You'll see that some areas haven't connected on the opposite side. So what we want to do is just connect the lines together with your X-Acto blade. I'll flip this around. Once you examine and see that everything connects, press on the back here and your pieces should easily pop out, just like that. Pop. Be careful when you do this though, because once you start getting holes, your piece is not as strengthened as when it's one whole piece of foam core. This, if you bend it too much, it'll crack. You certainly don't want that. Okay, our ceiling piece is done. We can put this aside for now. You can keep the insides. It'll always be good for 2mm strips later on. Last but not least, I have this curved ceiling to cut. So I'm going to cut the outsides first so that it'll be easier to manipulate, and then I'll remove the insides like we just did for the basic room. Here's our curved ceiling piece. Now we just need to trim out the sections that the lights will shine through. Like we did for the main room, I'm going to start at the beginning and I'm going to stop just before we reach the end. Okay, now we're going to flip it. We're going to look to see if there's any sides that aren't touching over here. It all looks pretty good. You should be able to carefully poke these out. No problem. Just like that. And this one. When you're using a clean blade, you don't have any little aero bubbles and torn edges on the inside. You have nice flush edges like this, which will help you apply the decal. But if you did have slight imperfections, when you wrap the decal around it, it'll hide the imperfections and it'll give you a smooth skin texture. This I don't need. There is one last thing I have to do that I almost forgot, is I need to trace the ceilings onto white foam core for the ceiling top version. I'll just align this with the edge like that. Now I'm going to trace, and then this last section here. Okay, you don't need to trace the insides because you're not poking out holes over here. This is the reflection section of the roof. Now let's just cut these pieces. Stop before the end, flip it around and do the connection. And there we go. So if we look at decals on page 1, page 2, and page 11, they have neon panels over here. So for wall number 1 and wall number 2, as well as wall number 6, I'm going to replace these decals with LED boxes. So these will light up the way the ceiling does, which means that I'm going to keep here and I'm going to keep here, but I'm not going to be using this. I'm going to be keeping the sides, but I'm not going to be using this. And for this wall, I'm replacing the entire thing with LED neon boxes. If you're not doing light up, then you just print and cut out the decals as is. Full sheet all the way around. Now you may be wondering why you're printing a full-size color like this. It's because when you're doing regular Death Star walls, you have the color of the background panels and not necessarily black. And since we need to cut out using the CRICUT on the poster board, we don't want to have the background of the neons black. We want it the same color. So that's why the first thing we're going to do is apply the full color sheets to the poster boards, and then that's what we're going to feed into the CRICUT machine. First thing you want to do is make sure you have a clean surface. Remove all your cat hairs if you have cats. And then I'm going to take one sheet and I'm going to peel it. And then I'm going to carefully apply it. You don't have to have it perfectly aligned because you're going to be cutting the excess out. With the ruler, start at the bottom, lift this up, move center out, center out, center out, center out as you let this get lower and lower so that you don't have any bubbles or creases in your paper. You have a flat surface. Since I'm making multiple neon boxes, I'm going to be using several of these sheets. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to use my X-Acto, and you could use scissors if you wanted to. I'm going to trim along the white edges to recreate my 8.5 by 11 sheets on my poster board here. It's always best to use a cork ruler. This way it doesn't move when you put pressure on it. Trim that off. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to be placing this on a CRICUT mat anyhow. So I have one clean sheet, and instead of black, we have the actual color of the Death Star wall. I almost was aligning with the color instead of the white. And there we go. I have all my sheets ready. Now I'm going to use just one for now. I'm now grabbing my CRICUT mat. I'm going to remove this protector. So this you want to align properly. So I'm going to make sure that it aligns in the corner and it reaches just to 11, a little bit after 11. So I push down hard here so that this surface of the poster board is not going to move around when you start cutting your neon holes. Now it's asking me to select what material I'm using. I'm using poster board, so I'm going to click on that. To load my mat in the CRICUT machine, I just have to place it in between these two little guides there. And then I just slightly press it against the wheels, and then I hit this. Now it's aligning. Now it's telling me I'm ready to hit start. Now it does one little row at a time until all the neons will be done. You can see there the neons that it started to cut there. Just a little bit more and our pattern is cut. Now all we have to do is remove it from the mat. I have my little picky tool here that comes with the CRICUT machine, and I'll be able to lift this in the corner and see how all the cutting comes apart really easily. The inside of the neons will remain on the mat, and there you have your first wall. Now you may be thinking, hey Frank, your CRICUT machine's broken. You forgot to cut a hole here. Actually, when I was checking the references, I noticed that in the movie set, this little light is actually off. So this is done on purpose. So we're going to put this aside for now and work on wall number 2. And there we have our wall. Now it becomes very fragile because you removed all those little neon panels, so you're having all these little holes on your sheet. We have our neon wall, number 6. Let's start with wall 1. The first thing I want to do is I want to take my CRICUT over here that I did. Wall 1 has a missing panel over here. Now what I need to do is draw the lines that you see over here. I'm going to take my Prismacolor, number 1067. I just need to place it at the top and bottom here of this decal, and then I'm just going to make a mark. 2, 3. Then I'm going to bring this to the other side, align this again, have one marking there, one in the center, and one over there. Now if I take my ruler and align, I can then trace, and then I can do the same thing again over here. Last but not least at the bottom. Now I have my dividing lines the same way you see in the decal. I'm going to do the same for wall number 2 now. Remember, the thin part over here is at the top and the wider margin over here is at the bottom. Same as you see here. Skinny top, fat bottom. Hey, that sounds like a song. Fat bottom something. A little line there, line here, and here on the other side, over here. Okay, now I'm going to trace all the way across. I tried using a pen for this, but it just makes it too dark, and it's not as nice as a colored pencil. This is done. I just need to do wall number 6. Use the reference to make sure that you're getting all the right things. This would be this way. Tall, tall. So here's this. Marking, marking here. Shift this over. Marking, marking, marking. Make sure your pencil is always sharpened for this because you don't want to have a big fat line. You want it to have as clean as you can. Draw all the way across, all the way across. So all of our fronts are done now. We have wall number 1, wall number 2, and wall number 6. Put this aside for now. Let's build the LED boxes. Here's all my pieces that I need for my wall 1, my wall 2, which are identical boxes, and my wall 6, which is a triple light. Let's do these 2 first. Now I want to keep my identification, so I'm going to use this side, the clean one, that does not have the writing, to glue my pieces on. For both walls, I want to just draw a guide at 6 and then 6 at the bottom. This will help me with my spine later. Draw across. Do the same thing on this. I want to do it on the other side. 6 and 6. Connect that. I might as well do this. Take level 6 wall, spin it around again. On the top, where you have 18 centimeters, I want to do a marking at 6 and a marking at 12. Same thing at the bottom. 6, 12. Let's connect, connect. Okay, this I can put away for now. So wall LED side right, LED side left. I'm going to glue this to my back like so. 90 degrees like this, not like that, not like this, exactly 90 degrees. So a little bit of hot glue. And we want to align this to the edge and align it with the top and bottom. Flush here and flush there and flush all the way across here. Remove any excess glue. We have one side done. Flip it around. Wall number 2. Apply some glue. Okay, align here first. Let it go down. Make sure you're flush at the top and bottom. That's very important because this box is going to be like this with other decals on the side. We have our 2 sides. LED bottom. That will fit right here in between your 2 spaces like this, and flush in the front. A little bit of glue here, a little bit of glue here, some on the side. Push this in first in the corner like this, and then press out, let it go down. Press on the sides here so that it touches each end. Make sure that it's 100% flush. Remove any of these excesses. Now the top is a balsa wood, because if we look at the top of our wall over here, a balsa wood is just the right size that doesn't go and touch these neons over here to cause a shadow. If we used a foam core, it would be too thick and the alignment would make a big mess. Since we have enough on the sides here and at the bottom, that's why we're able to use foam core for those pieces. A little bit of hot glue, little dabs. Okay, same principle. Go like this in the corner first, and then we're just gonna push it out of the way so we can lower it on the right side. And there we go. Now wiggle it around, press it down. We want it flush on both sides. Remove the excess. So we have our box over here, and now we just need to do our spine. Since we have two neon sides over here, our LED strip has to go down on one side, up the spine, down the spine, and then come back out over here. So that way it'll light up equally both sections over here. So what we want to do is we're going to put a little bit of glue on one side, and we want to leave a gap for your pencil like this. That'll make sure that your LED can pass in between. A little bit of hot glue, and then just align that along your pencil mark that you did there. Make sure that it's centered on this side, centered on that side. Make sure it's not leaning on one side or the other. You want this a nice 90 degrees from the floor. Our box is now complete. Then when we glue this top, we'll have a light up LED wall like this. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Same way, let's make box number 2. Hot glue. Align. Press down. Flush at the top and bottom. Okay, box number 2. Let's do this one. Wall left, glue. Up and let it go down. Remove the excess. Okay, other side. Some hot glue. Align. Lower. Make it flush. You could put it on the table surface like this to help you know that it's nice and flush. Now, top and bottom are balsa wood. Do a little dry run. This fits perfectly. So I'm going to place some glue here. Little dots along this side. And then 2 dots over here. Align in the corner like this. Push it and then lower into place. Make sure you're aligned at the top there. That you're flush here. Some hot glue there. All along here. And then here. Align. And push down. Make it flush. I have to push it to the top a little bit. Nice and flush over here. Excellent. Now we have our 2 spines. A little bit of hot glue in the center. A little bit of hot glue. Okay, then here. This box is done. So we have wall 1, wall 2, and wall 6. Now we can move on to the LED lighting. Go grab your spool and it's time to measure. So if we look at the blueprints, you're going to see that your LED goes into the box over here, all the way down around this spine, all the way around over here and out the same corner over here. So this being the top, I'm going to draw 2 little lines, and that's going to be where I'm going to cut. I'm going to do the same thing on this box. Remember, balsa at the top. 1, 2 little lines. For this wall, we want to do it on the opposite side. Draw 1 little line and another little line. Now we're going to cut these little slits, and what you want to do is that as you go down, you want to press forward so that this will be putting pressure against your support here of your balsa. If you were to cut this way, you'll be tearing the two pieces apart and you'll make a mess and you'll have to start over again. So extend your blade as much as you have. The first black line over here, press down while you move forward. Then move to the other line and do the same thing. Now you should be able to take this and just pull it off. It's just wide enough for the LED strip to pass through. Same thing here. Push down while you go forward. Push down while you go forward. Pull this out. Push down, forward, down, forward. Okay, let's start with box number 1. I first want to find out what the measurement is. So I'm going to make sure that one of these connectors is long enough out of this, so I'll leave 2 connectors. Here's a cut, here's a cut. I'm going to draw a little line here with my Sharpie. Now with this, I'll be able to know where my outside starts. Then I'm just going to go all the way down with the lights, and I'm just doing a rough for this. I'm not attaching anything, I'm not peeling. I just want to find the proper size. Then let yourself at least a good 4, 5, 6 inches there. Just find your cut over here and cut that. Now in theory, box 1 and 2 are the same. So instead of going through all this process, all you have to do is use the same amount of strips there. Just put them side by side. Your black Sharpie, like if you were cutting Velcro, you need 2 identical lengths. 1, 2. I'm pretty much there, and I see that the cut aligns. It matches over there, so this is the one I'm going to cut along the black line. I don't know if I have enough here for the third one. I might just go with a new spool and then keep these for single boxes later on. Like I showed you in the single neon tutorial, when you apply your LED strip, you don't want it to go at the top like this, because then you're going to not have any diffusion. You're going to have the chances of seeing all your little LED sources through the neon holes. What you want to do is you want to bring it as close to the bottom like this so that the light will shine up, doing a diffusion and then doing a double diffusion through the tracing paper. Here's my starting guide. Now what I want to do is I want to just peel over here, find your start, and that's where you're going to stop peeling. And you're just going to tear this like that. I want to leave everything that's on this side with the protection on it so that it doesn't get all sticky when you're going to go do the connection between this box and the ceiling later on. So I have the start of my piece over here. I want to go inside here and down there. Don't start it with a LED exactly at the corner because you can't bend that, right? So you want to go between the 2 LEDs. I want to put the LED towards the bottom as much as I can, just like this. Now I'm going to peel like that. When you get to the corner, you don't need to go too much 90 degrees because you don't want to break it. If there's a little curve like this inside, that's okay. Now I'm going to go over here, press it down, and then I'm going to make it go up this side. This goes around now. If this starts getting in your way, just tear it, put that in garbage. Over here, press to the bottom like that, peel it some more, around the bottom, peel and press. You're gonna reach the corner soon. Corner, peel, peel, against the balsa wood. Just before you exit, over here, I'm going to tear this off. I don't want that. Pass this outside. And then press at the top. So there you go. You have your in and your out like this. And then it goes all the way around. So everything over here in between the 2 sides is going to get equal diffusion and lighting. Let's do the same thing for the other side. Okay, we have wall 1 and wall 2 boxes done. Let's do wall 6. Okay, I want to identify my start. Here's my mark. Let's see how much we need. Over here, I think, is where I'll be cutting. Okay, so same principle. Over here. There we go. Stop here and cut outside and towards the bottom. So there's our wall number 6. Now the easiest will be wall 6 because it's all on its own. So this piece is going to go. I'm thinking to myself, why does it look weird? It's because I forgot to put the tracing paper on the back of the CRICUT cutting. We now want to grab some tracing paper. You want no folds or creases in this, so make sure that when you tear it, you're not making any damages. You want this in pristine condition. Now I need 1 page for wall 1, 1 page for wall 2, and 1 page for wall 6. I can put this back. Take a piece of scrap paper and your glue stick, and you're going to apply the glue on the back of your CRICUT cut here on the black side. You want to cover in between all the neon spaces without putting too much. You don't want it to go inside the shapes and leave goops there. This dries quickly too, so you have to work kind of fast. What I'm going to do is take my paper like this, and I'm just going to let it gently fall onto it and then press down. Now you can flip this on the other side, and then here you can press down to make sure that you're touching everywhere. Now you might see some creases, but that's okay. Once the light's turned on, you're not going to see them. Here is our neon, wall 6, front skin. Let this dry for a little while. Let's move on to the other ones. Take a fresh scrap of paper, put your neon on the black side up, and then go over here. Cover everything with your glue stick. Here you don't have to be as precise on the ends, but you want to have glue in the middle of all of your neon strips here so that it's not going to cause any gaps of your tracing paper. Carefully lift this. When you work with bigger sheets, it's a bit more complex because you don't want them to make a big mess. Throw this away. Take your clean sheet, let it fall carefully, pressing down over here as you go. Out, center out, center down, center out. Flip it upside down. Now we can rub. You can even use the back of your fingernails. Don't press too hard. You don't want to make a hole where your neon cutout is. Okay, let's let this dry. Same principle. You don't have to press too hard. You just want to cover the surface. Okay, lift this carefully. You can throw this away. Take your fresh sheet over here, lay it down, and then carefully move it forward and then out. Now you can flip this on the other side, press down. Okay, there's this piece. Now let's put this aside and go back to the first one and we'll cut it out. Okay, what we want to do now is cut along all of the outsides. Remember to use new blades for this because your tracing paper is very fragile and you're going to rip it if you're using older blades. I am now going to apply this to my LED box, wall number 6. Now what you want is your long neon here. You have a long and short, short, long. You want the long on the left bottom corner over there. You don't want to apply it like this where you have a short and long. Now this is the top of your box where the LED strips come out, which means that your long, tall will go like this in this corner. Now before we glue this, we're going to do our black Sharpie technique. So always decal side out. Use the side of your Sharpie pen like this. It's better to have a black edge that shows than a white edge. Now we don't want to see any black showing on the sides here too, so we're just going to do the same thing. We're just going to draw some black here. Okay, so I'm going to apply a little bit of glue here so that we can align this and start by having this attached properly. So just a little bit of hot glue over here. Just drops really. Okay, now you align this to the corner. Let it go down. Okay, along the seams there. You'll feel them. Make sure you're flush here at the bottom and that this aligns perfectly so that it'll go to the top like it should. Now we can lift this slightly and then we're going to put some drops of hot glue over here and along here, and then we'll be able to lower it in place. So just in the center, along the side, center spine, and then all along here. Let it go down from the center spines first, and then move your way out. Center spines, out. Don't put too much pressure here in between where your whites are, because then it's going to cave in. There's no support behind this. Your support beams are just only in between the whites, so this is where you can press down. Okay? And then press down along here. And we have our first wall number 6, LED box. That's how simple this is. We'll connect it to the ceiling later. Jeez, I've been cutting and not recording. I changed the camera position and I thought I was recording, but I guess not. Okay, now you have the front of your wall 1 and your wall 2. But before we attach these to the boxes, we need to cut these out and then attach them to the sides over here. You're going to trim along the color, and the white is going to be on the outside of your cut and the inside is going to be all color. So what you want to do is you don't want to see any white showing up on the side of your decal there. Just like that. Okay, now I don't want the whites, I want to keep these, so I'm going to cut just where the black is, along the edge, like this. Same thing on this side. Okay, I don't need these. I can put them aside for a future diorama or just put them in the garbage. So these trapeze shapes go at the top. You'll notice there's a color bleed over here. This is where you'll be attaching the wall number 3 arch. And then here's your trapeze at the top with the bleed on the left, and this will go on the left over here. So before I do that, black Sharpie technique along the edge. I know that this one goes here and this one goes there. So I will peel this over here. I almost missed this one. Line in the center there, like we did before. Align your image. Then I'm going to draw a mark in the center. I don't need to draw a line over here because this sticker is going to create the black line. Now I'm just going to move this up. A mark in the center. I'll do the same thing on this one while I'm at it. Align and draw. Same thing here. Align and draw. Okay, that makes more sense. Trapeze at the top. Bleed right, which means this is this side. Okay, I'm going to peel this. Then I'm going to align with the top and bottom there. Press it here. Try not to make it go down to the other side yet. Then press in the center. Center down. Then center up. Like that. So you now have the line that you drew and then the line created by the decal. Now we're just going to apply this one over here. Before you apply the decal, it would have been smart maybe to put some black pen on it like this. Okay, so we have that. Black Sharpie on this as well. Peel this back. Make sure the bleed is on the edge over here. Then I'm going to align. Then go along the spine here and then center. Center towards the top. Center towards the bottom. There. There's our wall number 1. First, put some hot glue here along the bottom. A little bit on this spine and then a little bit here. Now we're going to align this together like that on each side. And then we're going to let this fall, touch the spine, touch the sides and the sides. And if this is flush, you should arrive flush over here as well with your demarcations of your stickers. We're going to lift this like we did before and put a drop of hot glue all along here and then close this. So lift this, some hot glue on the sides, along the spine, the outside, and then most important on the top here. Press down on the spine, and on this side, and on this side. Again, don't press in the white zone because it's very fragile and you're going to be making a big tear in it. You want this to be pressing against it so that there's a nice tight seal here. Remove any excess glue that's peeking out. So now we have our wall like this, but we need to put our side pieces now. Put this on the floor, on the bottom like this. We're going to apply a little bit of hot glue here, and then we're just going to press it down like so. Some glue stick behind here, hot glue over here, not too much. Then you align it and then press down. Flush against the table, flush against here, which is the ceiling piece. So you're now going to have a nice reinforced front that won't be able to droop like this. And see how the bleed of the decal is just the thickness of your foam core? You'll be able to attach the other walls like this now. So same technique, glue stick first, all the way around. Some hot glue here. Align and press. Press down. Make sure it's flush at the top, flush at the bottom. Apply pressure. The seam touching the LED wall like this is going to be drying very quickly. The glue from the glue stick is going to take a little bit longer, so you want to just take this and put it aside for now. Looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Okay, let's repeat over here. Black Sharpie. Always decal skin outside, and then sides of our boxes. Okay, like before, trapeze over here, trapeze there. Peel back, align with your corners, press down here only. Keep this lifted, bring it down in the center, and then out. This way out. You can do the same thing on this side now. Peel, make sure your bleed is on the outside. Align your corner, make sure this is flush over here. Now go to center, out, center, towards out. There's our wall, seen from the back. Your balsa is your top, which means that this is going this way. So a little bit of glue over here, not too much. You don't want the glue dripping onto your LEDs and destroying them. Okay, now we align it centered and flush with the top. Let it fall down. Again, don't press down in this zone because you're going to make a hole. Now we're going to lift it as we did before. In the center, some glue. All the way down and then all the way across. Okay, now let yourself go down in the center. Then go down here on the sides. Press down the spine. Down the line over here. This is flush. Remove any excess glue. And there we go. We're almost done. Glue stick over here. Hot glue along the wall. Align by pressing down a little bit. Flush. Now let it go down onto the paper. Push this against the wall so that it's nice and tight here. Flush there. Okay, we have one side. Now we have to do the other one. Glue stick, hot glue, align, and down. Press it against your LED box side there. And once it's aligned and perfect, then you press down here. Wall number 1, wall number 2, wall number 6. all powered with LED neon boxes. Now that the LED walls are done, we can move on to the regular decals. We just need to cut those out, put the black Sharpie, and then apply them to our foam core shapes that we cut earlier. Okay, you're going to notice on some of the decals you have these yellow special warnings over here. This means that these decals are used for wraparound corners, meaning that you apply these only after you do the construction or the assembly of your hallways. Okay, let's start with page 3, wall 3 left half and wall 7. What we want to do is we just don't want any white touching or decals over here. And then you're just going to cut that off so that you just have the color. For the left wall, we're going to stop here. We're just going to cut out this shape over here. I'm just going to take my pencil, wall 7. Just to make sure I avoid confusion, I'm just going to identify the back of the decal the same way that it was written over here. So this is wall 3 left. So this we leave as is for now. Page 4 gives us wall 9 and wall 3 right. This was wall 3 right. When we place it on the foam core, it's going to look like this. Then we'll trim this off. Trim. Wall 9. Page 5 is wall 4 and 5. Now we have the warnings over here where we apply them only after construction. We'll have to put these in a separate pile. 4 is the wide one, so I'm just going to put wall 4 here. Wall 5. Okay, I identified these. Wall 4. I'm going to write it down. Yellow. Don't press too hard when you're writing because you don't want the pencil mark to make a ghosting into your decal there. So this will be yellow. I'll put them here. This is what was fun at Star Wars Celebration, is you had hundreds of fans helping you do all these boring tasks like cutting hundreds of papers and stuff. You'd have all those people doing like maybe 10, 20 papers, and then you'd have everything ready for the assembly. Page 13. Now here is your fake pipe shafts. Now I'm going to be doing them in real boxes with real straws. If you don't want to go through all that trouble, you can just cut along this fake pipe shaft and apply this on your foam core. So I'm not going to cut this out because I don't really need it. I'm just going to concentrate on these other two. Page 14. Now these are the ones I'm going to cut out. See, I'm going to be cutting this, and then I'm going to be cutting out the center over here, and then I'll be putting these straws inside here. If you want a fun challenge, then you do this version. In the yellow pile. 15 is also in yellow, and this is the layer 11, rear of your Blastdoor. This is the only one that's different than your regular construction of the Blastdoor. I'm just going to do this. Get the two pieces. Page 16 is a fake door. I only need one. Now we're doing the skins for the ceilings. Now, the end caps for the main ceiling over here are different than the curved ceiling. So we have to make sure not to mix these up because they look very similar, but they're not. For these end caps, it's more important to be precise on the sides than on the top and bottoms there, because that's going to be wrapped underneath. You're not going to see them. Save this for identification. Last cut. We have all our decals. Now's the fun part. We can start applying them on the foam core. Okay, I started sorting out all my decals. Let's start applying them. Now the good thing is that we identified all of these. So here I have my wall 10 door. I see that it fits properly. We're just going to put a slight layer of glue stick, just a little bit like this. So peel this. By the way, I took the liberty while the camera was recharging to use the Sharpie black technique all the way around. So I'm going to align this over here, press along one side, then you're going to go down the center, out, center out, center out, just like that. We have our first decal done. Put this aside. Let's go to this one, wall number 8. On the back of my sticker, wall number 8. I see that it fits properly. I did the black Sharpie technique all the way around on this one as well. A little bit of glue stick. Never use hot glue on decals. Never, ever, ever. Peel, align, press down over here, center out, center out, center out, center out, center out. When you place the black on your decal with the Sharpie, it blends in with your foam core. You don't see any white lines on the sides. Wall number 9 fits on the foam core. Get your glue stick, peel, align it flush. Oh, I have a little crease here. Remove with my nail. Okay, center out. Lift this, center out, center out. Always go down one center like this. This will push any air pockets or folds out this direction so that you have a nice flat surface. So this wall is done. Wall 7 over here. Some glue stick, peel, align at the bottom, center out, center out, center out. So Blastdoor right, Blastdoor right. Do a dry run and it fits perfect. Glue stick and align. Center out, let it fall down, center out. Perfect. Blastdoor left, a little bit of glue stick, peel, align it flush, let it fall, left. Walls 4 and 5, I'm putting these aside for now because these I apply only after the construction. Okay, for the rear wall, layer 11 of the Blastdoor, you'll notice that it's taller over here than your regular Blastdoor pieces. That's because on the inside of the main hull is 19 centimeters as opposed to the 15 centimeters of the outside. Now you want to do your black Sharpie all the way around the outside edges, okay? Do not put black Sharpie on the edge over here. For here, you don't want to put any black Sharpie either. Only at the top that you stop over there. That's for the right side piece. For the left side, you do the Sharpie on all the top like this, and then you do it over here, all the way at the bottom. Again, you don't put black Sharpie on the tip of this base here. And for this side, you'll notice that there's these lines that come here. You don't want to put black Sharpie on this area, only from the line to the top. Your white is going to lay on top like this, and when you look at it from the side, it's thin enough that it's going to blend better than having a black line, which will act like a separator. Just a little bit of glue on this half. Peel this. Now I'm going to lay it flat here, align it, press across. Now let it go down like this, and then bring it down, and then all the way to the end. So now this piece is properly attached to the foam core. The other side of it, when you align it, you'll notice that it slightly overlaps onto here as to not create a seam, and that's wanted. And what you'll want to do is you'll just want to make sure that these are aligned over here, that your lines continue over here. Now I'm going to apply some glue stick, just enough so that if something happens, I can peel it off. Peel, just like before. You want to align this to the edge. Now keep this lifted up, bring it down slowly, and make sure that it aligns properly, and it does. Then bring this down to align that. Okay, the alignment is perfect here. Here you could see I didn't cut the decal close enough on the color. There's a white from the paper that's left, so I'd need to trim that a little bit more before laying it down permanent. So I'm just going to peel this slightly, See the glue stick, what it does? It allows you to peel it off without tearing the sticker. Then I'll take my scissors and I'm just gonna trim a little hair off. Now I cut a little bit into the black over here, so I'm just gonna add a bit of Sharpie again, just in that zone there. Then you let this fall again, and now you have a better blend. So from far away, you can't really see your seam. Plus this is the inside wall, so you're never gonna see this anyway. It's just so that your room is 100% accurate to the movie. Now this is a Blastdoor I already had created. When you're gonna be building the Vader versus KENOBI version, layer 11 is taller. So you need to replace this outside layer with this piece. Because I don't want to redo another one from scratch, I'm going to cheat. I'm just going to cut this off and then I'm going to hot glue it onto the top. Slice this. When we're going to be assembling, all I'm going to do is re-glue this to the top layer like that. Wall 7 comes into two parts for your decals, the left and the right. Some glue stick over here. Peel this. You want to make sure that this goes on the short side. This is the top, on the long side. So a line over here, press it down, down, and then make it go across over here. Turn this around. Now we'll apply this side. And the important thing that you want is you want to line it flush over here, and technically it should match up with your gap over here. And because we put black Sharpie on both sides, when you align it, it'll blend perfectly with whatever is shown over here. Apply your glue stick, peel. Remember, trapeze at the top with this extra side there goes on the inside to mirror this over here. So we want to align this like that. Bring it all the way down. Now, since this is your arch, we want to now trim away this centerpiece over here. Poke this down and then go this way. I don't want to damage my decal here, so I'm going to start and I'm going to stop just before we get to the end. Then I'll flip it and start from here and connect to where we stopped. Bring your way here and stop before the end. Spin this around, poke in and connect. Now we do the other side, poke down. This should come out easily. And here we have our arch. Put this aside for now. Let's do our pipe shafts. So we have our front pipe shafts, and then we have our tops over here. And you'll see that over here, there's a slight color change. There's an overlap and give you a nice full clean color over here like that. For the top, we don't apply it till after construction, because if you were to apply it now, you see that there's 0.5 centimeter sticking out over here. And the reason for that is because you're going to be gluing your top to the rear over here, giving you that extra 5 centimeters, so that when you go to apply this, your top now reaches the full width over there. Put these aside for now. We only want to do the front. For this one, you do your Sharpie only on the outsides over here, but you don't do the black Sharpie on the inside, just like you see here. We don't want a black line coming in the middle there. Apply some glue stick, peel. Make sure the wider is in the center. Align this properly, and then bring it all the way down like that. Glue stick, peel, align, and then let it fall on the center there and bring it out. Now we have to cut out these insides over here. It's good to use a new blade for this part. So I want to align my ruler like this and just slightly in the color. So I start just before the round end and I stop over here. Start and stop just before getting to the end, and we'll reverse it and do the connection like we did in the other pieces. Start in the corner, stop where you connect. Now for all the angles here, I'm going to switch to my X-Acto pen. It's going to be easier. Poke in, then in the corner, you just want to bend a little bit. Turn your knife and connect that. Try not to get a 90 degree. You want to have a bit of a curve. I'm going to show you a trick after to accentuate that circle there. Okay, then flip this upside down. You want to make sure that all your cuts are connected. Because of my mistake, I have these two pieces, but when you pull yours out, it'll only be one piece. Carefully pull out your outside frames. If you have excess little pieces of paper like that, you could actually trim them clean with your X-Acto blade. Here's my tip to give you even better curves over here. You're going to take your pencil and round out your corners like this. And by pulling it this way, you're pulling in the direction that the decal was applied, so the decal won't tear. If you were starting to pull it this way, then your decal will pull off of the foam core and then you'll create a mess and you'll have to start over. Okay, do that for all of your shafts. You don't want to press too hard, you just want to let the roundness of the pencil create that soft emboss. When that's done, do your Sharpie along the edges. And on the dark sides, you're going to color that in to match with your dark color to accentuate the shadow. And then when it's white, you're just going to leave it on the edge of the foam core. You can color the inside if you want it to be even darker to match there. By doing the Sharpie, it makes the round corners look more perfect. And so any little imperfections you had before will be hidden a little bit better by this technique. Now we just need to do the same thing on the other ones. Okay, for the decals of the main ceiling, you're going to be having them in two sections because the 8.5 by 11 paper was not long enough for the whole surface. So you're going to have the left sides of the beams and then the right sides of the beams. You're going to apply the left side first, then when you're going to apply the right side, it's going to overlap a little bit on the left. So when you're going to be looking at it this way from the perspective of the Blastdoor, you're not going to be seeing any of the joints over here of the decal. It'll blend all into one same color. So the first thing we need to do before we apply these beam stickers is we have to fold along these darker lines. So to fold, it's not that difficult. You just need to bring it softly as a U like this until you get to the line, and then you start pressing slowly with your fingers. Don't put too much pressure, just make it touch like this. Then when you see that it's following the line, then you can squeeze tight, then use your nails to make a really nice 90-degree fold like this. Then we're going to do the same thing on the other side here. And now you'll have a nice angled shape like this, two 90-degree corners. I'm going to do the other side. This is the shape we're looking for. You see how the beam will fit right inside of that slot. Okay, now we just have to fold the other pieces like this. Now when you're folding, remember, the important thing is just take your time. This is a good time to meditate, listen to music. You just want to bounce it until you start pressing it tighter and tighter. That's all you need to do. This is where I wish I was at Celebration and have hundreds of fans helping me make this. You have 100 people making one fold each. All your folds are done in 30 seconds. The magic of teamwork. For your longer pieces, it's the same principle. Put your fingers like this in the back, and you're going to fold over like this until you start getting the roundness over here. Basically, you're twisting the paper with your thumbs over your middle fingers. And then just keep pressing along. Slowly at first. See how I'm not pressing really that hard. I'm just going back and forth like this until it starts following the line. When I see the line is getting close to be folded, then you start putting a bit more pressure. Going from one end, bring it down, and then you can start folding it exactly like that. After the first fold, put a pencil in like this, and then just push it around to start the fold. Same thing on the other side, round it around. Then you can start pressing it tighter. And if it's not perfect, that's fine. Once you place it on the ceiling, it'll fold at the proper space. I can do this now. So now you have this. You want to repeat that on the other side as well. You now have this shape. that'll wrap around your beam. Do the same for your 4 other decals. This is the most tedious part of doing your ceiling, is doing all these folds. It'll just make it easier for you when you go to apply them. You could apply it without the folds, but then I've learned by doing the basic hallways, which are available in separate tutorials as well. Just go to the speed index to find the links. That folding like this actually does make it faster and makes a better application onto the ceiling than if you were just trying to fold them directly on the foam core as is. All the pieces are done. We can start applying it onto the foam core. Remember that every piece is identified on the rear panel over here. From your decal sheet, you're going to see A, B, C, D, E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now your A is the widest. This is where it was 4 centimeters. This is your front, which is here, 4 centimeters. When you wrap this around, you'll see that it matches over here. But before we do the right side, we want to do all of the lefts over here. Find your A piece. If we want to play it safe, put some glue stick that we'll be able to remove it if we make a mistake. Peel. Okay, now what you want to do is you want to align this here right against the edge. Now if your A left is here or there, it doesn't matter because it's the same equal piece. You just want to align the corner over here. And then your dark line over here goes to the outside. Your dark line goes to the outside. Then you just press down. Now we can fold this over. Use your finger to press here. You want your dark color to be as flat as possible with the surface here. Then when you turn it around, you can pull as you press it down so that you have maximum tightness over here. Same thing over here. We want to press hard here. You want to make a nice 90-degree corner, and you want the dark of your decal to completely touch the spine here. Then you pull towards here now, like this, and bring it to the center. A little piece of Scotch tape like this over the seam. Now it'll never open up like that. Once that's done, move to piece number B. Okay, now we can do the other side. Find your A piece. This will go around here, and you'll see how it overlaps slightly onto your left beam. Now remember, for these, you don't put any Sharpie. We just want it the same color all the way around so that there's no black line in the connection over here. That way, when you look at it like this, it's going to look like one full-size sheet. And if you look at it here, you'll slightly see the seam because it's white. Instead of having a black Sharpie, you're actually going to notice it less. Don't put glue stick on top of the blue decal there that we just applied. You don't want any glue stick here. Peel this completely, and we do like we did the other one. Align here against the cuts, and then your dark color should be on the outsides of each of these beams. Because I have my glue stick there, I can wiggle this a little bit until the alignment of the sides is exact. Then I work my way backwards, making sure to remove any bubbles. Then I play with the connection over here. Like we did on the other side, you're going to fold it, and since we pre-fold it, see how easy it wraps around? Make sure there's no air bubbles there. You want it to be flat against the side there, 90 degrees as possible. Also remember, when you're manipulating this now, because there's holes here, it's not as structurally sound as when it's a whole piece of foam core. So you want to be careful not to bend it too much and then snap one of your beams in half, which would be disastrous for you to have to start over at this point. Start in the center, pull, making your way towards the outside. Pull over here, pull there, and pull at the end. You want to make sure this is flat. You can pass your nail again, and then over here. Okay, same thing here. Let's bend this. Pull in the center, Then pull here and make your way out to the edge. Same thing here, pull, pull. Now you can put a piece of Scotch tape on each side. Make sure it don't go nowhere. If you want to be extra cautious, you could put one in the center. And there you go. Okay, we have all of our horizontal strips. Now we just need to do our sides over here. Now we just have to bend these the same way we did the other ones, but they're not as wide, so it's easy to just do a simple fold like this. Same thing over here. We just want to do this on all the pieces now. Okay, everything's folded. I can just place them on the edges now. Make sure to use your sealing indexes in order to help you identify where to place your decals. Number them if we want to make sure not to make mistakes. 1, 3, 5, 7, 2, 4, 6, 8. 7 and 8 are the only ones that are different than the other ones because they're a bit more wide. If you try to stick the 7 decals, see, it won't fit in any of the other ones. Glue stick, peel this off. This will fit in between the beams, so you can't misalign it that way. And your dark line goes on the edge over here. So you're aligning just like this. And see, because of your glue stick, it allows you to manipulate side to side and place it exactly where it's supposed to go. Press at the top, and then like we did before, you're going to wrap it around over here. Pull on the other side. Use your nail technique, and then center out. Now we have a corner piece. Don't worry about the dark here. You're not going to see it because your wall is going to hide this section anyway. Okay, so the decals on the main room ceiling are done. I'm going to put this aside and then we'll build the LED box for this later. Now for your curved ceiling, this is very important. You will be applying the decals in this direction with the curve this way. However, this is how it's going to be placed on top of your walls here because your ceiling curves this way towards the right. This is the front where your connection is going to be to the main room over here. So if this is lifted higher to the height of your walls, this is the surface that you're going to be seeing your decals on. So this is the side that you want to apply them. So we're going to flip this way, which makes the curve look like this. We need to fold the ceiling curves in the same way we curved the decals for the main room. So we're just going to follow and fold along the dark lines like we did. So just gently start again in the same technique. Carefully bend them. Put your finger underneath for the long ones and you start a slow memory. The more you do of these, the more you'll get used to it. And there's a lot of decal skins like this for the ceilings. So everywhere you're going to have ceilings, the curved hallway, different rooms, you're going to have to use this technique. So you'll just improve on it after every use and get faster and faster at doing it. Everything's folded now. Just push this aside, bring in our roof. If you follow this index decal, you shouldn't have any problems. This is your A piece, B, C, D, E, F. So let's start with B. A little bit of glue stick in case we have to play around with it or remove it. Start by placing it like this with your dark line fold there in the corner. Same thing here. Now wrap this into the slot to the other side. Now we want to press this down. Oh, I forgot to peel. Oh my God, how silly. By the way, this is the next day from the last scene that we filmed. I just finished shoveling for 2 hours and I took a warm bath to help my aching back, and I guess I'm not 100% into it mentally yet. Okay, so peel the sticker first. That'll help you. We want to align our darks here at the edge and then make sure that it aligns over here, which it does. So press down here, center, center outwards. Okay, this makes more sense. Now it's all attaching nice and flat. I can't believe I was trying to place it. I was going, why is this not sticking to the surface? Okay, now we can fold this inside this gap. Make sure that you have a nice tight corner like we did for the other ceiling. Flip it around, fold here. It should fold properly along the edge like this. Flip it on the other side. Use your nail technique to press it really firmly against the side. Then we're going to pull center and make our way outwards. Pull out like this. If there's any little creases or bumps on this side, doesn't matter because it's the back, right? Pull from the center out, there. As long as the side is flat, that's what matters. Now on this side, nail technique, pull towards the one side and then pull to the other side. Scotch tape, and Scotch tape. Might as well do our A, which is this small little piece over here. Now again, like the other piece, remember, once you start cutting out sections like this, your ceiling becomes more fragile. So if you play with it too rough, you might rip one of the posts over here like my cat did last year on the basic ceilings. So now we have all clean beams. Now we just need to put the end caps. Okay, so place your ceiling in the same orientation as the decal index. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 9, and 7. By numbering them there, I'll at least know that I'm not making a mistake. Since I have 5, let's start with that one. Some glue stick, peel it all, align it like this, fold it over, nail technique, press it all the way against the side, pull it, center, out, like that. Nice. We have color on the inside of the beams and on the edges over here. Much nicer than the black, plus it hides all the little imperfection if you have little aero bubbles caused by a dull blade. Our ceiling frame is done. Now we can start building the LED box that goes around it. So if you take your blueprint page 11, you're going to see how all of your frames fit relating to one another and where all your spine supports are located. Now if I take my pieces, this is the ceiling top. I don't need this right now. Now all of my frames and spines that I cut out the other day, I had identified them, so I'll be able to know exactly where they fit. You want to take your tracing paper. We're going to need 2 sheets, so you want it to lay flat. So if I cover here to cover this zone, I have enough paper to cover this side of the panels like this. You're going to need a piece of scrap foam core like this that you're going to be using to press your paper onto the foam core surface here so that it lays as flat as it can against the beams. You don't want them to droop in between the beams like this or have any air pockets. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to put glue stick all over here. We're going to lay our paper the way that we want, making it do contact here. And after that, you're going to keep this up and you're going to use this here to move it forward as you lower this onto the surface, which will give you a nice clean contact. Now what I want to do first is I want to make sure that the paper is placed properly when I'm going to apply it because we are going to be limited in time. So I'm just going to fold it like this over here, because then I'll know that this is along this side. And then I have enough space over here. Fold this over like that. Now I'm going to just trim that with my scissors. Trim along the fold. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect. It's so fragile, you don't want to cause any creases like this because that'll show through on the ceiling once it's lit up. So I know that if I apply it like this, it'll cover all of my cut ceilings over here. And I know that my piece of foam core is wide enough to go this way. You want to go in the direction of your slots over here. You don't want to go this way because then you're going to be hitting all kinds of snags. You want to go this direction. That's why when we're going to apply it here, we'll go in this direction after. I want to avoid putting glue on the insides. I just want to put the glue on the top surface over here and everywhere that you see the foam core. Get your glue stick, okay, so all the way outside. And then you do want it to go to the lip, but not on the inside. You want your tracing paper to be in full contact with the back of your beams to give you the cleanest result. Okay, that's done. Take your paper, lift this, don't let it touch because it'll stick. Go this way. Remove all the air pockets. See, I'm letting it go down too fast. Try to peel it without making creases. Take your foam core and move it forward as you let this go down. Then you can press along the beams. Try not to poke through. You could tear the paper. Now I'm going to just trim the excess off. Go along close to the edge. See if I can't peel some of this like this. Because the tracing paper is so thin, you'll be able to start seeing through the color. You'll see the black compared to what's not touching where the glue was. Use the X-Acto just close to the edge and then I can peel this off. I'll do the same here, just slightly. You're not pressing really hard with your X-Acto blade because you don't want to go through the foam core. You just want to go through the paper. I can just peel off a little side like that. I now have my tracing paper on this side. Now I need to do on the other two remaining slots. Wherever you put some glue stick, make sure that's not sticky anymore. So this, I'm aligning it over here, and then I'll fold it along like this. Okay, I just want to get my outside shape so I can find my guide. And then just cut at the seam there. Okay, this will be my piece like this. And then I will move my foam core scrap this way so that it'll be applied along the window beams over here. I'm going to apply some glue stick on the back of every beam surface. You want to just have it touch over here. Okay, press this down and I'm going to lower it as the foam core pushes it just like that. Now you can press harder. You'll be able to see where the glue touched the foam core beams. It's much darker than here. Remember not to press hard. You don't want to create a hole or a tear into your beam. Go near the edges like this. Pull this like that over here. So this is the rear of your ceiling panel, and this is the side where it's going to be exposed. Now we're ready to apply the frame. If we look at the blueprint on page 11, you'll see that ceiling frame 1 goes along the edge just like this, and then ceiling frame 2 will lean against the first one, and frame 3 will lean against that as well. And here we have these 45-degree angles that we're going to have to cut over here. So we're going to start with this, then apply these, and then we'll do the little cuts after. So I'm going to find my frame number 1, which should be the exact width, and it is. And I'm going to be putting some hot glue here and applying it just at the end like this. So a little bit of hot glue, start like this at the corner and let it go down. Make sure it's flush on the sides here. But what's most important is flush here. Next up is ceiling frame number 2, which is this piece. And this will fit against the front like this, not on the side. So a little hot glue on the end, then at the bottom, we're going to put it against the bottom like this, then bring it down until it touches. Make sure that it's as 90 degrees to the floor as you can. You don't want to lean it sideways. You want to have this flush too, because that's where your ceiling box is going to be. Press it down. Once it cooled off a little bit, you can remove this excess glue here with your nail. Frame 3 is my next piece I want to grab. Fits like this. Now this one I'm going to have to cut at an angle. So I'm going to extend my blade as far as it can reach. And like you're playing a violin, I'm going to be pressing down. And as I press down, I'm going to move forward with the blade in order to slice the triangle off. As long as you don't cut into this side of the paper skin, it'll be just fine. Slide down like this, bring it back, then press down and slide more. And I have a 45-degree cut. And you'll notice that on this side, it's nice and straight because I didn't touch any of this paper over here. So I'm going to want to apply this piece against the top here, not on the side, so that it's flush with the side of the ceiling here. And I want my angle to be on the outside, like this. So when I put the other piece, it'll line up perfectly like that. A little bit of glue, then at the bottom, press down a line with the outside edge over here. Press this firmly against here so it has full contact. And then make sure that your triangle is facing this side. Remove any excess glue. We have 3 pieces of our wall done. Let's do this wall now. Frame number 5 will go fitting against this like that. Now it doesn't matter if there's a little bit sticking out. You don't have to have it perfect like this because we're not seeing this side, okay? It's just for support. A little bit of hot glue on the side and the bottom. Then you're going to press this against your frame 3, but most important, you want to align it with the outside here so that it stays nice and clean. Scrape off any excess glue. I said frame number 7 closes the end, which is here, and I'm going to want to trim off a little triangle this way. So like I did before, I'm just going to start here, press down, move forward. Now you see how my blade is not cutting into the front of the foam core. I'm only cutting on the back, and I'm cutting at 45 degrees. Slide down. So now my wall 7 should arrive clean with the 5 and arrive clean over here. So I need to apply frame 8 first. So a little bit of hot glue only at the bottom this time. A line in the corner, lifting up, then let it fall down. Flush with the ends there. Wipe away any excess glue. Now when I align my angle, I can see that I have about 0.5 centimeters thickness too much on this end in order to be able to fit it properly. I'm going to use one of the other walls and trace the thickness, which is the 0.5. Now the rear of your frame 7 should align perfectly with the top of frame 8, and it should connect perfectly with your angle cut here of frame 5. So I'm going to put hot glue on each end and the bottom. Push this in over here, let it fall down, and then I'm going to push it against the end where I cut the angle. I have a nice contact over there. This is nice and flush. Flush over here. This is my ceiling frame 4, and that'll go over here. I'm going to create an angle over here, and then the same thing on this end. Go down. Don't go cutting into this side of your paper skin. Again, by leaving this paper side intact, you're getting a nice clean line. And if you have some wobbly on the insides, it doesn't matter because that's on the gluing side. The more you do of these angle cuts, the easier it'll get. So just go down, just go down. So some glue at the bottom and to this side. Now I'm just going to push these two pieces together and then let this fall down. Bring it flush to the end. Use your nail to clean off any excess. That's the advantage when your nails are a little bit longer. It might be unsightly for the camera, but it's very useful for diorama making. One last piece that needs to be placed here against the top over here, and it should fit against your angle cut over there. Do a dry run, and I see that it fits perfectly. Glue on the side, glue along the bottom, and then glue here. Press against here to allow me to insert this down, and I just hit glue here and I'm burning myself and I want to scream, but I'm trying to contain myself. Oh jeez. You always can burn yourself at any level of skill, so always be careful with your hot glue. Make sure to remove any excess glue over here on the sides. Now the frame for the curved ceiling is done. All we need to do is insert our spines for the LEDs. You want the spines to be not where the light's going to shine. You want them to be along the beams. I'm starting to feel a blister already from my hot glue little droplet that went straight onto my hand there. Ooh, that hurts. Burning. I'm going to just place it here and I'm going to draw a line here like this so that I can see where it is. I'll do it in Sharpie so that you can see it in the camera. I drew myself a guide like this so that when I put the glue, I know that I need to glue it onto that, okay? And I know that I'm not going to be anywhere near the cutout area where the light's going to shine through. Okay, now we just have to secure them in place with some hot glue. Spine number 1, place some hot glue, and then follow your little guide that you drew there. You want it 90 degrees as well, so that the ceiling will be nice and flush with these pieces. Okay, we have our LED spines and the frames all done. Now we can put this aside. We're going to do the main room and then we'll do the LEDs after. Now we're going to move on to the ceiling of our main room. What you want to do is you want to apply our tracing paper on the side that you put the scotch tapes on the rear over here, the same way that we applied it for the curved ceiling. Even though a sheet reaches the 4 zones, it's so minimal here. If I make a mistake and it's angled wrong, I might have like a peekaboo here and I don't want to have that. So I'm not going to risk that. I'm going to cover 2 slots over here with one sheet and then the other 2 slots with the other. Make sure to grab your scrap foam core here. Make sure not to put too much so that it doesn't go on the insides of your frame, but you want it to go to the edge so that you'll get a nice clean contact. Carefully place it along the edge like this. Okay, press across here. Now let your foam core scrap do its magic and go all the way down like this. More glue stick just on the sides, the ends of the beams. Make sure not to go where the white is because then you're going to make a hole. You want to leave this. You're only pressing the glue where the spine is over here. Let this fall like this and then press against this and let it fall. Press in the center. A little trim just before the edge. I now have a clean tracing paper surface. We can now apply the frames. So looking at the blueprint, we have horizontal frame 1 and 2. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the ceiling horizontal frame base flush on each side over here and flush against the front of the frame here. Some hot glue here all the way down across. Place it in the corner like this. Align it and then let it fall down. Move it up and down so that it reaches flush on each side. Make sure it's flush in the front as well, and that it's as 90 degrees as you can get it from the table surface. You don't want it leaning in or out. Now we're going to take the side pieces and we're going to glue them on top of the surface, not on the side, but on top like that. And then we're going to align it flush over here on the side and on the bottom. Align it at the top here, then let it fall down. Make sure that it's flush on the sides, pressed together here, and that it's flush all the way here. Remove any excess glue. Same thing to this side. Some glue on the end and at the bottom. Then we'll apply it on top over here, not on the side, and flush all the way over here. So some glue, some drops. You don't have to put it the entire surface, just like that. Press it against the back there, then lower it. Make sure that it's aligned at the top here and that you want it to stay 90 degrees. I know I'm a broken record, repeating myself often. Make sure it's flush on the side. Remove any excess glue over here. Okay, we're ready for our end frame. Now you'll see that it should arrive flush over here and on this side, and you're going to align it flush over here. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the front here and then all the way the back, and then I'm going to lean it against this. So a little bit of glue here, all the way over here, and in the front over here. Now we're going to align at the bottom and then press up. Press down, align here. You want it nice and clean and flush. Press the two pieces together. Same thing here, press the two together. Make sure it's flush over here. Remove any excess glue. Now we need to apply the 3 spines that will be in the center beams like this. So like I did with the curve, find the center of your beam. You can usually see it through here. It's a little darker than the white zones. Make sure not to trace on the white part that's going to be lit up. You don't want that. Hot glue along the spine. Okay, you want to leave equal spacing on both sides. This is the fun part when you get to the gluing and the construction and it starts coming to life. There we have it. Our curved and main room ceiling frames are done. We can place the LEDs now. If you're using only stickers for your walls, then you don't need these LED boxes on the sides. So you would be following just the straight room like this, which is the blueprint of page 16. However, I'm using page 17 because I do have these little extra LED boxes on the side. Same thing goes for the curved ceiling. If you're just using a plain sticker sheet for your wall 6 over here, then you're going to follow page 12 of the blueprints. If you do have an LED box instead, then you're going to be using page 13. The main roof ceiling is where the main power supply is going to be, which is this over here. Your LED strip is going to enter from this corner. It's going to go down and then it's going to exit so that it can connect with your wall 1 LED box here. Then we're going to do another continuation of the LED strips that are going to go down all the way to the front here, then go up, and then they're going to enter in order to be able to connect with the wall 2 LED box strip. And then those are going to come out, and then they're going to then wrap themselves around the spines over here, and then up to the top, and then back out. And then the out portion over here is what will be connecting to the curved ceiling later on. Okay, again, this 4 centimeters is the front of your ceiling, and this is going to be laying this way on top of your walls, meaning that your little LED strip and power supply, we want to make a little slit here for the wires to go in and out. So we want to draw 2 little lines here, and then this is what we're going to cut out in order to pass the LED power supply from your corner over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be pressing down and like a violin, like we've been doing, move forward. You're not putting a lot of pressure once you're reaching the bottom. You don't want to cut through the foam core frame over here. It's easier when you use a new blade for this. You should be able to use your pencil to poke this out now and then just pull this out. Now it looks like I wasn't following my own instructions when I built my LED box, probably because I was doing this upside down. In the blueprint over here, it says that we exit this zone to connect to the wires that are here, but my wires, as you could see, are on this side. So what I'm going to have to do is make the hole here for me so that they can connect to these wires after. If you do it properly, then you'll be doing it on this end, but I have to modify it for mine because I'm not a good person to follow my own blueprints. So since my connector, like I said, comes out here, I'm just going to follow this spine. I will just draw 2 more little straight lines here like that. Make sure not to cut into the beam. I hate that sound, like a balloon. Ugh. Hold on to here so you're not bending that, and I'm just going to poke this out, and then I'm just going to pull. Here's the power supply. It'll go inside and come back out here so that I can connect to the box of wall number 1. Then it'll go back in here and then continue its way, and now I have to make on this side a connection, but I'm going to check my wall again. Here's my wall box number 2. And I think I also did the opposite of what I was supposed to do for this one. This is how they're going to lay. And as you can see, my wires poke out over here and not over here. So I'm going to draw my 2 lines next to this beam over here. 2 little lines like that. I'm going to cut that. Now it's a slight variation, but it's the same principle. In, out, connect to this box, out, go all the way here, then I'll follow this spine, follow this spine, and then on the way here, I will go out into box number 2, come back in, follow the spine, up until I get outside here in order to connect to the curved ceiling. Since this is the start of my whole room lighting, I need the power supply to be accessed, so I'm going to leave enough LEDs over here in order to be able to have this pass through. So I think this will be enough. So I'm just going to leave a mark over here. Okay, now that this is marked, I can place it here, and then I need to pull this here that will go along this wall and out here so that it'll connect using these little cable snaps there into the wall 1 box here. So I have a zone here that indicates that you can cut it with your scissors. If you don't cut where the little scissor markings are, you won't be able to reconnect your wires so that they all light up through the whole diorama. Put this aside for now. Find your peel and then start peeling. Now where I have my marking here, I'm just going to tear this off because I want that to stay non-sticky for when it's outside here. When you're applying your LED strips, you don't want to apply them at the top. You want to apply them as close to the bottom as you can in order to get maximum diffusion and bouncing from the top of the ceiling here. Now I'm just going to place it inside as much to the bottom I can of the foam core frame, and then I'm going to press the LED sticker against that, peel the backing, press it back here, and then I see that here is where my connection is, my hole, so I'm going to tear this at that point so that it won't be tacky when I get on the outside. Now I'm going to tug on the LED to bring this tight against the wall while pressing it down towards the bottom. Then you can use your finger and press it against the foam core like that. So I now have my power supply, my LED strips that go here and that come out at this end. Now I'm going to find the same length as the one that came out, and then I'm going to mark it over here with my pen. This is my start. Okay. Here's my mark, which means I'm going to rip the peel backing over here at that spot because I want all this zone to not be sticky. So here's my re-entry mark. I'm going to place this in the groove, and then I'm going to peel a little bit behind the LED strip, and I'm going to lower it into the corner and start pressing against the foam core over here. When you get to the corner, you can just leave a little curve so that you don't damage your LED strip. Okay, so I'm gonna peel and then press down. Peel, press against the foam core. Always leaving it as closest to the bottom as you can. Now what you want to avoid is poking through your tracing paper there. You don't want to do that, especially at this point. Okay, now we're getting close to the second wall exit. So we're going to want to bring the LED wires here along this frame, and then we're going to make it go outside here. I'm going to want to tear the paper backing there. This will go inside here. Now I'm going to just use my finger to make it go along the wall like this, and then just press slightly and then pull on the outside. So now I have this. Now I'm going to measure 2 scissor cuts to have enough wire here to attach to the wall number 2. Now I need to measure close to the same length, then find an in-between over here. That's going to be my re-entry point. Now I'm going to peel it until I reach my demarcation there with the Sharpie, and then I'm going to peel the backing so I have a non-sticky re-entry connection over here. So what I'm doing now is that the LED will re-enter from here and attach itself on this wall. So I find my line that I drew, I place it like this, and then pull and start attaching at the bottom there like that. Okay, we're nearing the end. I'm just going to peel this till I get to what I know is just the outside there, and I'm going to tear this wax paper thing, get rid of it. I'm going to pass my LED through the exit, stretch it like this, then I'm going to press it against the back of the frame there. Now I just have to find a cut where it's long enough, and I think I'm going to cut here so that I can connect to the rest of the LED. And there we have it. So we have our power supply, goes out to box number 1 of wall number 1, comes back in, connector, LED strips all the way here, down this spine, out, goes into connection of wall number 2, then re-enters over here, spine, and exits. And then this here is where we're going to be connecting it to the curved wall ceiling. Now we can secure this with our top so that it's all protected. Okay, now you don't want to put too much hot glue because you don't want it dripping and going into the lights and having the heat of the glue potentially damaging the LEDs. So just in the corner and then in a few spots here, like this, not too much. You can put 1 or 2 in the centers there. Now we just align this flush in the front and the side. If this is flush here and it's flush here, it should line up and be flush over here too. Put a little bit of pressure until the glue dries for 30 to 40 seconds. Even though gluing this top on adds some structure, this paper is still very fragile, okay? And you could poke that easily with any sharp object, pencil, anything. So you want to put this in a safe spot until we start assembling it, okay? The last thing you want after all this work is to have a big tear through this. For the curved wall here, this is the corner where it's going to connect to the main room ceiling. So this is where we're going to want to do the slit groove in order to pass our wires in. If you look at the blueprints of page 13, we want the LEDs to exit over here to connect to the wall 6 LED box, and then come back into the room in order to go to the end and exit. What we need to do is make a marking over here on this wall, 2 little lines, and we're going to cut violin style inwards. When you're putting your blade inside, be very, very careful that you don't poke any of the tracing paper over here. You want your blade to be as flat, parallel to this, because any little angle you might risk tearing this, which would be a huge disaster at this time. So just enter carefully over here, take your pencil, pull that out. We have our wall connector. We just need to do the entrance for the main room connection. So again, 2 marks and we cut. Oh, I hate that sound. I almost poked over here. That's just the last thing I need. I have the main room connector over here, and I have the wall 6 connector over here. So if we look at our blueprints, we're entering here. We're going to go along here, along the spine, the frame, down this spine, back to this frame, over here, down here, up the spine, down, all the way back up, down this wall over here, and then we'll exit, and then we'll take another LED strip and then continue it all the way down here to the exit. First thing I want to do is find a gap over here with enough leeway outside to be able to connect it. So I'm going to mark this as my entrance. I'm going to peel until I reach my mark. Then I'm going to tear the backing, align my marking with the start over here, bring it down as low as you can, and then press it here against the box. Now for this part, I don't want to put the contact on top of contact in case it causes a short circuit. So what I did is I just cut out a little piece of poster board here, and I'm going to place it along the back of here, and then this one will be glued onto the other side. So there'll be at least the thickness of a poster board separating the 2 electrical connections. So I'm just going to insert that like this. Then I'm pressing that one together. Now I can press this one against that poster board. Now I press along here. Stop pulling your wax paper when you get to the exit hole because we don't want to have sticky LEDs on the exit. I'm going to tear this here. It's being stubborn. I'm going to pass this through, press it against the wall. I'm going to have to use a pencil here to go between these 2 there. So these aren't touching. That's good. Now I want to find a cutting guide that's at least a good distance for me to be able to use my cable. Oh my God, I almost made a hole with my pinky. Now just measure the same distance, put my marking over here. This will be my re-entry point, and then I'm going to go all the way this wall until the exit. Peel the back, and then where it meets the start of the demarcation, rip that paper away. Take this, place it on the outside, lower this, and press it against the wall. I'm going to stretch it along the wall over here. My finger won't reach there, so I'll use my pencil. Press it against the foam core frame. And then we have this last piece over here. Peel, tear it here, pass it outside here, and bring it forward and pull this to make it tighter. Now we can press. Okay, I can find my scissor mark. And now I have my ceiling. Now all that's left to do is to place our ceiling top. Remember, don't put too much glue. You don't want it dripping down and having the possibility of destroying any of the electronics. Carefully align your ceiling over here. And in theory, it should all fit and follow together. Just put some pressure on this for 30 to 40 seconds until the hot glue is cooled down. Again, I want to state that even though we put the top on and it's a lot sturdier than it was, this remains very fragile. These zones, you don't want to tear these at this point. Put this aside in a safe place until we start the assembly. Now let's hot glue these pieces together in order to make our docking bay background. I'm going to start by just taking the centerpiece. I'm going to put some hot glue along the side, and then I want to align it at the top and then bring it down. Now I want this as flat as possible. Any excess glue, just remove that. Make sure that here it's flush, and then press these two pieces together. You want a tight seam and you want it flush because you're going to be putting some decals here and you don't want to be like a speed bump effect. I can flip this around. Make sure there's no glue here either. Okay, now we want to apply glue on this side. Align it at the top and then bring it together. Press it down, make sure that it's flush here at the top, and then push the two pieces together. You want to try to have the least possible gap in between your pieces here. So here's our docking bay center. Now we will be applying these decals here at the top. Okay, I'm working upside down because this is the bottom, but we want to align it with the top here. So we have three pieces here that create the docking bay background. Okay, we want to apply the two ends first, and then we will apply the center one after. Apply some glue stick like that. Then we're going to peel this. So align it flush to the corner and then bring it down towards the center, center out, center out. Watch out when your fingers pass into here because you don't want to have your fingers become messy with the glue stick in order to damage the rest of the decal. Okay, now we want to do this side. Glue stick, just like that. Peel, find my corner, and align it with the top there. Center out, center out, center out, center out. There we go. Now we just have our centerpiece over here. You'll notice here that there's a dividing line. This is where I stopped my Sharpies. On this side, I did not do a Sharpie because the black line doesn't go to the edge. What's important is your Sharpie start over here along the black and then goes all the way over here. If you wanted, you could do it here, but it's not the end of the world. Okay, we're going to align this at the top, and then we're going to play with this until we arrive over the edge here. This should align properly, and in theory, this should align over here as well. This is extremely important to put the glue stick on this portion because we're going to have a lot of manipulation that we're going to need to do for this specific decal. Peel. Okay, I'm going to align here first at the top. That looks good, but I'm not going to press down completely until I see if it aligns over here. And it does. Okay, so now I'm going to keep this lifted. Start over here, center, left, center, right, center, left. Let this go down as it goes down. Left, center, right. There we go. I'm a happy camper. Your docking bay large blast door goes along the front like this. Like I said, I'm going to cheat, and I actually cut the top part of the decal off, or the foam core, because I had already constructed a large blast door and I was feeling lazy and did not want to redo another one. So if you were building it from scratch, like you're probably going to be doing, you're going to be following the instructions for the layers 1 through 10, just like the large basic tutorial. And then layer 11 for this build only would be one piece, not two pieces together. It's my 4th day doing this. I just wanted to try to cut corners. So you won't be doing this yourself necessarily, but I'm just showing you what I'm doing. I'm just going to attach this directly to layer 11. This has to be 19 centimeters tall, the same as the side walls of the main room. When you sandwich 10 and 11, it gives you this thickness over here. So your large blast door will look like this. You have the inside layer 11, and then you have from the other side all the other layers. Your inner skin decals over here overlap 11 and the regular Blastdoor layer 10. So once you finish the construction of your large Blastdoor, you're going to be adding your left and right front docking bay pieces. I'm going to put some hot glue over here, and then I'm just going to align it at the top and then bring it down to connect with the wall. And then you want to make sure that it's flush here in the front and flush at the top and bottom, because that's going to be pressed against your floor. Now on the right side is where you have these two stripes. A little bit of hot glue down the side, align it here, and then bring it into contact. Bring it flush to the front and at the top. Keep some pressure with your hand there. Use it as a grip like this, keeping these corners aligned perfectly. You now have this, the docking bay side in the front, and on the rear, the inside of your Vader versus KENOBI duel room. Put this aside for now. We're going to work on the pipe shaft. Now that you cut out these holes, we can connect the top to the top of the side. White is at the top, so what I'm going to do is we're going to flip it here, a line of glue all the way across, a line in the corner, and then let it fall down. Move it this way until it reaches flush on each side, and make sure that it's flush at the top here, because this is where you're going to be putting your decal, and you want the skin to look like one smooth surface. You don't want to have speed bump effect on your graphic. You can even put it down like this if it helps you to press it down. Okay, here's our left, our right. This edge will overlap the pale color until you align it like this. And then the same thing with this final side, which you will overlap the pale color to make a long strip of the same color. So we want to start here. Make sure that there's no excess glue over here. What we're going to do is just place some glue stick on the top left of your structure here. Peel. You want to apply with the pale color to the right. You want to line it at the corner, and then you're going to wiggle your decal up and down until it aligns perfectly with the top front there. Once it does, press it down in the front, and then you're going to just go center out and then go all the way across the decal. So here I'm doing what I forgot to do on the first piece, which is just put some black Sharpie along the sides. You're going to place it on the long sides, front and rear, but you don't place it on the short sides because that's going to overlap onto your blue and you don't want to have a black divider there. I was going to put the Yoo-hoo cap on the Sharpie pen. Oh my Lord. Now I'm going to put glue stick on the middle half over here. You can put a little bit on the blue, but not on the regular color. You don't want to have glue on your decal side. So peel that. Now the pale color goes on the right side, and then you're going to overlap on the pale blue with this one. Place it in the corner, just like this. Put your finger on it, and then you can wiggle up and down your decal until you align it perfectly with the side there. And then you're going to press only in the front. Then you go center out, center out. Okay, we're going to do the last part. Put some glue stick along the edges there. Peel, apply it in the corner, and then align it in the front so it's perfectly horizontal. Press down with your finger, center, then center out. Center out, center out, center out, center out. And here we have our shaft front and top. Now what we're going to be doing is applying straws on the inside to simulate those pipes that you see in the film set. Okay, when you look at the movie reference here, you can notice that there seems to be like a big fat gray pipe, then like a medium size gray pipe over here, and then you have two black pipes on the top. So 4 pipes in all. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Hi, this is Editing Frank. I just wanted to insert this because in the material list that I just mentioned, I talked about paint and paintbrushes. Well, that was a huge disaster. So what I did in the meantime is that I created 2 new pages, 23 and 24, which is your new skins for your straws. So no more painting of the straws. You're going to be wrapping it in the skins like this. Now the skin design was created originally for the blue straws and not the black straws. But now I noticed that the black straws aren't really black in the movie. It's just the same color as these, but because they're pushed back in the shadows, they look black. For your own creative decision, if you want to stick with black straws, you can do that. But what we're going to be doing is movie accuracy, so we're turning all the straw layers blue, bluish gray. You're going to grab a bunch of straws. These black ones I won't have to paint, I'll just leave them as is. And I'm just going to play around with the other sizes in order to get the movie accuracy that I want. Now you'll notice that you'll notice that your straws won't go through the whole distance. What's important is to play with these dividers over here as your camouflage. So if I look at this pipe, or straw, I say pipe, it fits within the first 2 windows. So I won't have to attach 2 like this in order to make it pass. So I'm gonna just leave 2 like this over here. Your straws, if they're different sizes, it doesn't matter. If it's a smaller size, like these regular drink straws, you'll see that that doesn't go to the end. So you will have to attach 2 together. In order to do that, you just pinch one tip like this, and then you push it in to create like a V, just like that. When you do that, you're able to insert it into the other side of your pipe, and then you twist as you push down, and then it becomes one pipe. I always say pipe, it's straws. Hello, Frank. You guys know what I'm talking about. Now, if you don't want to see the seam in the center of your exposed area, you can align this so that the seam goes behind this little gap here. And then what you'll do is you'll just trim off your straws equally on each side there. So I have my 2 black straws. Then I said I want a white straw, and does the white straw, yeah, the white straw is the right length as well. So I only need 1 of that. And then these, I don't know if they're the right size. I might have to tape them in the center there so that they will fit nicer. So for the thick one, I'll use 4. I'm going to flip this upside down. I'll align this to the edge here. And then I'll just say that I'm going to cut it here. And then I'll use the other one to go from here. And then cut that one in the center there. So I'm just going to take my X-Acto. If you just bring it down like this, it's a paper straw, so it goes relatively easily. So I'm going to just put a little bit hot glue here. Then I'm going to connect it. I'm just going to lay it on the table while it's connected so that it's nice and flat. And then I'll just lean it against here so that it's not bending in a V. Just a little bit of hot glue over here. If some of the excess falls on the inside, it doesn't really matter. Align this together. Place it on table surface like that. If I wanted, I could even align it with a piece of scrap foam core like this. Or you could use this since it's going to be hidden. Now we're going to cut our skins here for the big Slurpee straws. And then you're going to cut the blacks if you're going to be using the wraparound for your black straws. I printed 3 variations for me to do a test, but I will leave the version that looks the best in the PDF. So you might not see 3, you might see only the 1 to avoid confusion. Cut. By the way, your width of the decals over here are the exact width of your straws in order to put in the pipe shafts. You'll notice there's a slight discoloration over here on these 2 pieces, and this is for your guide onto where to put your foamy wrap. Cut along the color where the white is touching. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 for each side. This you don't want to cut perfect around. We want to peel it and place it on our foamy. Then we'll cut the foamy. Peel, place it on your foamy. Now we can cut. You'll notice these strips in the color. That's to identify the sides of the orientation. You're not going to stick it like this on your straw. You're going to wrap it this way. If I look over here, the fat Slurpee straws on each end are full colors, and it's the second straw that has that colored decal. There's a bit of glue here in the joint, so I'm just going to remove that. So we're going to peel this. I'm going to lay it flat on the table like this. I'm going to place my straw aligned with the sticker like this, and I'm just going to roll it over. And because it's a sticker paper, it's starting to stick already. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of pressure like this, and then I'm just going to wrap it all the way around like that. So then find your connection over here, and then you're just going to remove any bumps or creases, and the connection is almost invisible. When you place it in now, see it resembles the same color. You don't need to do any black Sharpie contours on these either. Peel number 2, I'm going to align it left and right, and then I'm just going to let it roll. When I see the start of it, I'm just going to press it tighter, make sure it has full contact. Then I'm going to continue rolling it like this. Then find your seam and then use your nail technique. I have my 2 fat Slurpee straws. Now I'm going to do the same technique over here with my medium straws. Peel, place this on the ground, bring your straw close and let it touch and roll. Put a bit of pressure now over here. And when you're rolling it, your straw is so thin, so don't put pressure so that it's going to cause warping in the decal. Just let the straw flow until it reaches the end like that. Then find your seam and then close that. Here's our guide that we're going to wrap the foamy around to create this over here. Peel, start rolling, put some pressure here. There you go. Here's the seam. So I have my Slurpee and the normal straws. Don't they look cool? Now we're able to attach them to our pipe shaft base here. What we need to do is build a little staircase in order to place the straws. So you're going to need some 5 centimeter strips, okay, by 0.5 or half a centimeter wide. We need 6 of these. And then the same thing here, another 6, but this time 3 centimeters, but the same 0.5. And then over here we need 1 centimeter by 2 centimeters times 6. And these will be stacked like that. Okay, we'll start in the corner. We're going to take the 5 centimeter strip over here, hot glue. Now what we want to do is we want to push it against here like this into the corner. Aligned flush over here. This is the same positioning that we're going to put here, 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 and here. In the middle there's actually 2 that we put. Hot glue, align it center between your ovals here and press it against the top. Try to keep it in a straight line. A little bit of hot glue, press it against the top. A half a centimeter here as well. More hot glue. Opposite corner now. Just like that. A little bit of hot glue. Align it center against the top there. Hot glue. This one being at the end goes flush against here. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we're going to take our 3 centimeter piece and we're going to align it against here and on top of here. Just a little bit like that. Make sure it's flush here on the side. Remove any excess glue if there is. Hot glue. Hot glue. Hot glue. Hot glue, hot glue, remove the excess. Okay, we have our little 2 centimeter pieces here now. Hot glue on the end as well, and then just push that one in place there like that on the back and underneath. The reason we're using black scrap foam core is because we want the insides to blend with the straws. We don't want to have any light going inside there. Hot glue. I realize my hand is hiding you there, but I think you get what I'm doing. Hot glue. hot glue, press it against the top, last piece over here, flush over here if you can, hold it in position for 20-30 seconds until it cools off. I have some spider webs here. So this is what our support looks like. Now we're ready to place the straws. Almost. We still have these two little details. Take your two little pieces of foam over here. You know what? My camera has a red light for me to know when I'm recording, and then I just looked and it's not even on. So I think that you didn't see me put the hot glue. So what I did was I took my piece and I put just a line of hot glue over here. Then I found my seam, and then I aligned the straw with the guide, and I aligned it on top of the edge of the foamy. While this is drying, let's apply this one. You'll see that the straw is the same width as the decal, so I know that I will be placing it like this. On both, you want to place this gradient on the inside, not the outside. You want it bright towards the outside. So a little line of hot glue here, and then I'm just going to align it the same way I see here on my straw. I'm going to let that cool off. Once it cool down, do a soft memory first, and then do it tighter and tighter until you get it that it touches all the way around the straw. You don't want to have a gap here. You want foamy to wrap tight like this. Depending on the size of your straw, you'll either be tight or a bit loose. That's fine. We're going to be putting glue over here, and then we're going to close this and wrap it and then keep it really secure until the glue is really cooled down. Just a little bit hot glue like this, and then on the end here. Okay, and then I just wrap it around. If it's imperfect behind, it doesn't matter because that's going to be hidden. It's not easy because this has a tendency, it wants to unwrap itself, plus you're putting pressure on the straw, which is already kind of smushy. I got it to go around over here. As long as it looks nice from the front like this, that's what we want. So I'm just going to keep some pressure here on the back seam. Do the same here. We're going to start by giving it a memory. I need to add another 5, 6, 7, an extra 7. Hot glue here on the end. Keep it closed. Like the other one, you want it to be touching all the way around. Even if it's not perfect in the back, it's okay. That'll be hidden. Let this dry for a little bit, and we have our two little detailed pipes over here. Okay, so we should now have two slushy, two mediums, one with the little foamy attachment, 4 blacks with one little foamy attachment. Let's grab those, put them aside. Now remember that this is the top of your pipe shaft. This is the bottom, which is over here. This is mirrored though. It's like this. We have our 4 windows. Big straw thing is here. So here's the bottom. This is one zone for one straw. Remember, you need to keep your straw flush over here. You don't want it sticking out of the side. That's why we have the extra spacing there. Do a dry run with the other one. Flush here on the side. If we look in the center, you see that you have plenty of room over here to manipulate these like that if you needed to. So let's start at this end. And remember, what's important, find your seam. The seam is facing up. You want the smooth side to be the one that's glued against your pieces here. So 1 drop of glue is all you want. 1 drop of glue, then 1 drop of glue. Again, find your seam, and then I want to make it so that it's flush on the edge. So make it touch here first. And when you're happy with that, then lower it in place and then press it against the little stairway there. We're going to do the same thing on this side now. So a little bit of hot glue, 1 drop is all you need. 1 drop, 1 drop. Okay, find my seam. Where's my seam? Here's my seam. A line over here, and then let it fall. In theory, it'll look like it's one pipe because you're hiding the seam over here with this thick section that we have. Remove any spider webs that you have from your hot glue. Now we want to go to the medium straws. So if I look at my reference, this goes this way with this little thing matching up over here. If I go there like this, it's going to lean over here. Just like that. But you want the seam in the back, right? Not like this. That would be a disaster. Okay, so I have one there. One drop here. Be careful with your drops. Don't make them too big because you don't want to mess up the decals on the other straw. Here's my seam over here. I'm going to align it on the right. Okay, then I'm going to let it fall down. The foamy is going to put a bit of pressure because it's touching. That's fine. Now the other piece doesn't have any details, so it doesn't matter what orientation that you put it in. One drop, 2, and 3. Like this. Let it fall and make sure to press it against your stair there. That's going to give you a slight little gap over here. And it's not going to make them touch, which is going to make it look nicer. And it's going to look just like in the movie. Now we have our black straws. A little bit of hot glue here on the front. And then one over here. Take your straw, align it with the right, and then just let it fall. Now just make sure that you have the same distance gap on all 3 pieces here. You don't want your straw to be at an angle like that. You want it to follow perfectly with the ceiling and perfectly with the other straws. Make sure here is flush. Let's do the other side. We need to place the straw with our little detail here. So if we look at the reference, the detail is close to the center. My detail needs to be like this. I need to apply it this way. A drop over here, a drop there, and then another drop over here. Just let it fall aligned on the left. Whoops. Okay, you want the seam to be in the rear, and you want to have this straw look like it's continuing from the other one. Whenever you do the other sides, you just want to make sure that it's a straight line. You don't want one straw to be like this and the other straw to be like that. I'm exaggerating, but I think you understand what I'm talking about. Okay, I have one more straw to place on each side. A drop, then a drop here, and then a drop here. Align my straw to the right, and I want to leave a slight gap, just like this, between the two. Okay, one last piece. It's starting to come together. Corner. Drop over here, and then one more drop. All these spider webs, they're driving me crazy. I think I said that already. Okay, grab your straw, align it on the outside, same distance, let it fall over here, and then slide it in place. You have some time to play with the glue there. We're going to align our shape like this, trace around the pipes, cut kind of like a triangle shape for this to fit inside properly. I just need to hold it flush so that it's close to where it's supposed to go, like this. Then I'm going to trace with my pencil where the pipes are. So I'm going to cut that out with my X-Acto pen because there's some little curves in it. And then I'm also going to trim off this little piece here. You should be able to peel it off after. Just this tiny little piece we trimmed off. Let's trim this. My end cap fits perfect, and I'll be able to cover this with a decal. You're not going to see the hole. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Cut this little end off, remove that. Then I'm going to trace, curve that. Okay, there's 3 main parts now. There's the background. Okay, this is the docking bay background. You have the pipe shaft that we just did. And then you have your large docking bay blast door with the sides. we know that layer 11 was the rear of the blast door. Layer 10 over here is where the background over here is glued onto. The back here of your layer 11 is glued against the back of your layer 10. If we do a dry run, let's see if it works. It should slide just like that. And you flip it around. Can you see it's leaning against layer 9, which is not good. So we want to move this over to layer 10 by pushing it, and it does. Okay, so see how layer 11 touching layer 10, and then all the other layers 9 to 1 over here in the front. Now our end caps that we just cut out over here will fit here. So adding the gap in between here, it's making the connection between your wall number 10 and the front of the panels here, and it's giving you the same 6 centimeters that you have, which is the width of your blast door. So when you look at it from underneath, it's all the same thickness. It's all coming together. The bottom of your pipe shaft will be glued onto the front layer 1 of your blast door, like this. If you don't have the skills or you don't have the time to do a full 3D version, you could just leave it like this and it'll still look cool as a facade. The first thing I'm going to do is attach these side end caps. The first one is going to go here against the edge and flush with the side. I'm going to apply some hot glue here and then align it. A little bit of hot glue, and I'm going to stop just before the end because it doesn't reach all the way there. I'm going to lean it in the corner here, then let it go down till it goes flush. You can move it this way to make sure that it reaches the bottom there, and you want it flush over here because there's going to be a decal skin here. You don't want any speed bumps. Put some pressure on it. 20 to 30 seconds should be enough. Okay, let's move to the other side. Now I want to apply it this way, the curve facing the end cap over here. Hot glue, align at the bottom, let it fall to the surface, and play with it a little bit till it's perfect. It looks good. Now I just have to keep my hand still for a good 30 seconds. I have my 2 end caps now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue here, and we're going to attach these 2 pieces together, and then we'll do this end caps after. So I'm going to slide this in between here, going just in front of this, layer 10, layer 11, and then this should go down until it meets, and it does. That's the connection. The feet over here match well. I got the proper alignment there. Layer 10, proper alignment over here as well. I can't put any glue here because this is where the wall will touch. I can put a little bit here so it doesn't disconnect. I don't know how far I can fit my glue gun. It's smoking hot. Do you see the smoke coming out? So I just put a glob right in there. You can see it glisten at the bottom there. Let that cool. Gonna want to do the same thing here. I want to make sure it's aligned properly on layer 10 over here. Layer 11 is our rear. Do you see how much glue is in there? The thicker the globs, the more time you have to let that cool down. Then we'll be able to attach these end cap decals to the sides there. When you work with big surfaces, you can see that the foam core tends to want to bow. So I might, in the end, once the diorama is all built, take a scrap of foam core and then just cut a rectangle to sort of like make a brace over here that will bring this down and into a perfect straight line. I want to fix this gap here that I have. I'm going to stick the nozzle of the hot glue inside here, and then I'm going to press really strong here, and with the other hand I'm going to press strong over here, and then try to get this piece to be really nice and flat. Okay, I got one shot at this. Here we go. Stick some big blobs in there. This won't be coming off anytime soon once it's hardened. I need to press this tight without burning my fingers. No, That's not good. Oh, I could leave it flat like this. Duh. I wasn't thinking. Actually better, because now I can use both my hands and I'm pressing really strong against this like that. And there was a lot of glue there. Did you see it all bubbling? This is very, very hot. You can scorch yourself. But see, look, the contact, really good. But I still want to be pushing. I feel it underneath my hand here, the heat from the glue. So I'm just going to keep putting pressure here like that. This is actually more comfortable for my arm. Do this for a good at least 2 minutes. This is where I wish I could listen to music when I do my tutorials to pass the time. But then I'll have copyright restrictions in the editing. I'm really happy how the design turned out. I'm not burning my fingers there, but see how it's still a little bit rubbery. Press some more. I can't wait to see the finished wall when it's all going to be done. This is just the first room. Okay, that's pretty stuck now. All of this excess glue there, I'm going to have to remove that in order for the ceiling to lay properly on top. I'm going to be lifting this, put some hot glue, and then close it shut. That'll keep this nice and tight. So I'm going to poke it out a little bit, expose this, some hot glue. Okay, then I'm going to lift, slide it in, flush here. And I want it full contact at the top there. Push this up a little bit. Push this out. I don't want to burn my finger. Using this little curve here, I'm just going to keep some pressure on that. Remove any of the extra boogers there. That's a nice tight fit. I'm really happy about that. So this is helping keeping this all 6 inches nice and straight. And it's going to give us the exact distance in order to be able to put our front here together. Let's do the other side. Hot glue just fell on my pencil. Now my pencil's all glued. Same principle. Hot glue on the edge. Lift, slide in. Align this flush, which it is. Press down really hard. My hand's getting in the way. I'm sorry about that. And then press this corner. Have you guys been playing the Hogwarts Harry Potter game? I got mine on PS5 last week. I've been playing it a couple of hours before bed each night. It's so much fun. Everything's all connected now. Now let's see if we can attach this. Okay, I'm going to take this scrap foam core and I'm going to just lay it over here because there's the recess, layer 11. By putting it like this underneath, then I know that when I press, it'll be flat against the surface. And so if I apply some glue here, technically, when I line it up with the line here, I should be able to press it down and get it to be nice and straight. If it's glued here, I'll be able to tilt it up a little bit and then add glue to the side. Okay, this is scary because once it's done, it's done. So I'm going to apply glue all the way here. I'm also going to put glue on the top there. A little bit of glue here, a little bit of glue here, and then all the way across. Okay, align flush with the sides. Make sure it's aligned over here. It is. Press it down in the center. I don't want to put too much pressure in the front. I have a bit of hot glue that fell on the decal, but that's fine. Okay, that looks like it's pretty solid. I wasn't even recording, I think. The light wasn't on. Damn, Frank. So I basically glued here, 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 and on the bottom, and pressed it all together. Oh my God, little mistakes. I've been making a lot of mistakes the last 2 days there. This is the 4th day building this. And here we have our facade. It's almost done. All that's left is to apply the decal sides. Now, when there's little imperfections like this, I have some black poster board here. Peel. I'll attach it over here. Peel this. Apply the second one. Sharpie technique. decal outside. Do you see the difference? It aligns perfectly. Take my glue stick, apply it on a scrap piece of paper like this. Make sure that your glue stick is all the way on the ends. I'm just going to put some on the surface here too, especially on the thickness of the foam core, because that does not like to have things attached to it. It's hard with one hand lifted like this. Okay, align it at the bottom. You want the emboss of the white at the tops. My hands are full of glue stick. I have to clean them before. I'm going to smother this entire graphic. I'm going to use this. Actually, I'm going to apply it onto the table surface, which is flat. While that dries, let's move on to the curved hallway. When you look at my design, you can see that it's basically in 3 parts. We're going to do the rear curved hallway in one pass, then the main bedroom, and then the main bedroom, and then the main room over here will be the middle part. We're going to do this second, and then we'll attach this to here, but leave this connection separate so that I'll be able to pull it off and on for photography. The main bedroom. What in the world? Okay, let's start attaching our walls. First thing we're going to do is that we have our arch over here. This will be attached like so. But first, what I want to do, if I look at my blueprint over here, we have wall 5 and 4. So wall 5 will be this one over here. And then wall 4 is the longer one. I'm going to apply some hot glue over here. I'm going to align this at the corner and then at the top. Flush over here and flush on the inside. Now remember when I told you there's the special decals with the yellow instructions that you're not supposed to place on foam core at the beginning like this, is because the thickness of the archway over here is part of this wall. So when your decal is applied, you see how it makes a nice corner like this, as opposed to having the end showing like that. Okay, I'm going to want to attach wall number 4 now. I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to place some hot glue here, align it at the corner like this, let it go down. Oh, I'm going to put it this way because I have that sticker, Dollarama sticker I don't want. Flush here. Wipe away the excess glue, put some pressure on for a couple of seconds. Okay, I already put the Sharpie all the way around the decals. I'll apply this one first. Now this will go here so that you see that our excess over here matches the side there, just like in the movie. I'm going to put some glue stick like this, and then especially on the side thickness there. I'm going to peel. Trapeze is at the top. I'm going to align this at the bottom here and keep my finger on it, and then I'm going to play over here at the top until it fits in the corner. Then I can bring it down like this, center towards the outside, center, and then center out. Take your Sharpie pen and then accentuate this corner there. Now we're going to do this one. Some glue stick all the way across at the seam there. Peel this back. Stripes to the right. Align this upper corner. Keep your finger on it. And then you can play with this, moving it sideways there. Okay, good. Center. Center out. Use your nail technique. Blend the two together. If I look at my diagram, these next walls are 45 degrees, so I'm going to install those based on the ceiling. You always want to build your diorama upside down because it's easier and more important to align your walls with the light panels than the floor. If the floor is off a little bit, it doesn't matter. But if your light panels are slightly off, it won't be as nice. When you look at the blueprints, the rear of the wall aligns where the ceiling light stops, okay? So that there's a slight 0.5 centimeter overlap of the light to give you that embossed look and to give you the effect of the movie where the beams are laying on top of the lights. By the way, when you manipulate this, be very, very careful. You don't want to make a hole during the gluing or any process because it's still very, very fragile. You don't want to align your wall like this, where the front of the wall is at the rear of your LED light beams there. You want it to be inside like that, so that the back of your wall is what lines up over here with your cuts, like so. Okay, so I know that this front here is glued to the back of my arch. And then these tops will align with these cut lights over here. So all I need to do is align myself like this. And I'm just going to make markings of where this is over here so I know where the glue should stop. Also, when you glue your walls, never glue them on the top. If the glue falls into your tracing paper, it could melt it. It could tear it, it could make a big mess, so you don't want to do that. So what you do is that we glue from the outside over here of the walls, but we glue only on the beam parts, so it'll be like just some drops of glue here, drops of glue there. Never put glue where the light is because it could fall and drip into the light source, which would be not good. I'm going to put some hot glue over here. Align it like this. Now I want to make sure that I'm pressing firmly but not too strong that I'm going to destroy the box there, and you want it flush over here. Now I have 1 centimeter or 2 thicknesses of foam core over here to make this flush. So I'm going to be taking 2 scraps of foam core like this so that I could lay this down over here. Then I can play with this, align this properly so that it goes exactly following your cut over here. Once I know that this is properly placed, I will put hot glue here, making sure I stop before the tracing paper. Okay, I'm going to keep my hand there. You only want to glue in this zone over here. Never where you see the little decal that was the end cap decals, because that's where the indication is that it's your tracing paper on the other side of this. Same here. See, you see your end cap. I'll go do this side now. When you're attaching your walls, you're upside down, so you have to attach them this way. Don't place them like if you were on the floor, because then they'll be upside down, which is not good. This wall I'm going to have to cut 45 degrees off here. When you cut down, try not to touch the front surface. You want to cut into the back, okay? If the back is ugly and not perfect, that's fine. It'll be hidden. Just slide down like a violin. Slide down and bring it forward. Slide down, bring it forward. After you do many, you're going to be able to do it nice and clean like this. So I have a 45-degree corner. I have to do the same thing on this end now. As long as I don't touch my front, I'm okay. Now it's relatively clean over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put hot glue here, press it there, but I'm not putting any hot glue at the bottom. Aligning at the back like this. Make sure it's flush at the top and bottom, like so. Once you put your glue over here, you can do some glue here for extra strength. Now see how you play with this? You see the exposed paper? You want to align it here like that. So I press down, put a little drop of hot glue here and in the center, but I'm stopping. I'm not putting anything close to those decal end caps there. Keep it pressed down. Now when you have thick glue like this, it'll take longer than when you just draw a straight line. So you have to have a little bit of patience. And when you're pressing down, don't put too much pressure. You don't want to crush your ceiling. I would cry. While I'm here, I can add some extra glue here to the inside seams now. I'll go over here. This is my wall number 9, upside down. Let's see if it fits. And it does. Let me put some glue stick. Oh my God, I keep calling glue stick, and then hot glue stick, and glue stick, hot glue. Align it where it's supposed to be, and then press the 2 pieces together. The ceiling angle doesn't matter as much. You're going to play with that after. What you want is a nice clean connection over here at the seam. So you want to press those two together. It's starting to come together. Remember, we're looking at it upside down. I'm going to align it here. Actually, this one I will glue last because the door fits here on the other side. So once I glue this, I'll be able to close these two together to make sure that it's a tight fit. Okay, let's go to the exciting part, my neon. You could always use a decal like this if you prefer. I wanted to try with the light up neon, so I made the box. Now this is the top, which means that it goes like this, and it'll be placed over here. And then here's my connectors. So all the connecting will go from the neon box to the ceiling. Here we go again. The camera was off. I don't know when it was off and when it was on. It's 3 in the morning now, so maybe that's part of the reason that I'm making mistakes. I'm like half so tired. Okay, that looks good. My wall number 9 fits over here, aligned in the corner there. I need to see this connection be perfect, like that. Then I can play with this to align it over here. I'm gonna put a little bit of glue. Make sure this is out. This looks nice. Keep some pressure there. I wonder if I should even glue the doors. If I leave it open, I could pop it open and closed, make a camera go inside. Hot glue on the beams, in between the two, and at the end. Never put glue on your end caps over here. Also do just a little bit extra here. I'll measure my door just to get the proper gap if ever I decide to change my mind and place the door. But I think I'll leave it open so I can take photos in that direction. So I'm just going to press against it like this so that I know where this wall is supposed to line up over here. A few drops in the black zone, and then over here in the black zone as well. I almost went into the end caps. I've been saying the whole video, don't do the end caps, don't do the end caps. I'm going to remove this, just keep some pressure over here, and our curved section is completed. Now if we turn it right side up, this is what it looks like. But look how dark it is, because there's no lights yet. Let's put this aside. Let's do the main room now. Basically, we're putting glue on the sides here, and they're going to overlap onto these decals. You'll notice a little neon missing over here. Well, it just happens that when I was examining the references, that light is off when they're fighting. But in some angles it's on, but I decided to use the one that's off so that when I do the cinema comparisons, it'll look exactly like the movie. This will be attached this way, and then this will go this way over here. Now I know that the 4 centimeter is the front. Like I mentioned earlier, this is like its own section. The docking bay area is what goes in the front over here. I'm going to put a line of hot glue here, and then we're just going to align it in the corner like this, and then bring it up, and then attach it like that. Just a little line of hot glue over here. Align it like so, then bring it up and press. Make sure this is flush. That's where the ceiling is going to go. We're now going to put hot glue here and then attach it lined up like this. Some hot glue aligned like that. Beautiful. Now we'll let that dry, and then we'll be able to put it on the ceiling. Okay, I flipped it upside down again. I put the ceiling on the floor, and you see that the rear over here lines up with these end caps over here. Now see, I can adjust it like this. I want to make sure that it's flush, and that see over here, I want to make sure that that's flush here as well, because the other wall from the Blastdoor is going to come lean against this. I know that this side is now perfectly positioned. I'm just going to lift this. I'm going to put just a little drop of glue on the beams And I'm going to re-lower this and then readjust this so that it's flush over here, and it is. And then I'm just going to re-flush this over here, like so. Now I can press down a little bit, make a good contact. Now while that's drying, I'm just going to put some glue here along this beam to keep this wall secure in position. And on this side, I'm not going to do anything because there's the LED strips and I don't want to risk melting any of the electronics. Once this is cooled over here, I'll flip it around and we'll do the other wall, and then we'll be ready for the floor. Okay, I'm now doing this wall over here. Lift it slightly so I can stick a little bit of hot glue over here underneath. Hot glue only on the beams. Then I'm going to realign it so that the front here is flush and that the rear is flush. Glue here along this beam. Now just a little bit of pressure. I have to say it's looking really nice with all of the LED tracing papers and all that. It looks clean. The CRICUT did a fabulous job. Okay, you could see here how you have the rear sections now over here and then the front section. Now for the flooring, if we remove this for now, we can see that we only need high gloss in this area and then when it curves. The width of my DC Fix high gloss vinyl fits perfectly underneath, and if I go to the end here, it'll fit for the room. And then I can have the vinyl in two sections because when I put this back, I could then just use the thickness like this to roll it across. I'm going to remove this again. Since I'm going to be stacking it, I had cut out these extra side supports. This is the rear. The sides will go here, like so. And you're probably wondering, why are the sides so tall? And the reason is because they're created to match this. And then I'll be putting a ceiling on top of that so that will be able to be stackable with other rooms on top without damaging any of these levels here. So if my floor goes here like that against the corner, that's perfect. I could even cut it to here if I wanted to. I think I'll do that. Remove the floor. I'm cutting along this line over here. I'll cut 54 just to be safe. So unroll this. And then 54 comes to here. Okay, put this away for the rest of the projects. So first thing we're doing is the back. Okay, when you're applying a huge section of DC Fix like this, you need to get a scrap of foam core like this, which is at least the width of it. And like we did with the tracing paper, you're going to have this lifted up and you're just going to press it down like this as it lowers so that this gives an even pressure against it and removes all of the bumps, removes all of the bumps and bubbles and creases and stuff like that. What we need to do first is just peel off a small section here, like 3-4 inches at the start, like so. You're going to fold this over. Okay, you could even press it down. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that it aligns at the end there like I wanted. Okay, and then you want this to be level with the end. Over here, you don't want it to go at an angle. Since our room is in between, we have play. So even if it's not perfect this time, it's fine. Usually, if I'm doing really where the edges is where we're seeing it, I will overlap like this and then cut it from the back side to make sure that it's nice and clean. Once it's placed, okay, you're then going to go like we did before from the center. You're just going to let this fall really gently, okay? And then you're going to remove any bubbles like this. Then you're going to peel a little bit in the back. Then you're going to take your cardboard And you're gonna start bringing it down like that, okay? I'm gonna peel more on the right. You want to try to bring it even. You don't want it to go like this. You want to bring it straight across, okay? I'm just peeling a little bit, pressing down. Peeling, letting it press down. Peeling, letting it press down. If you see there's any little bumps and things, you can just iron them out first. Always center out, push the air out this way. Keep going. And I bring it closer to me. See, it's nice and flat for the most part. Peel some more, bring it down, peel, and then go like that. So now you can pass your hand over it like so. We have a nice, highly gloss, reflective surface. Now I'm gonna flip it this way. And now for the part that's gonna be exposed, I'm not gonna need the full width, so I might even just cut that to save it for some future use. So what I do need is to cut it to about here. This time we should have a little bit of excess on the sides. So I'm just gonna peel a little bit, and then the Blastdoor will hide this seam over here. So it doesn't matter if there's a little gap and you're not perfect. It doesn't matter for this section. So we're just gonna peel and then fold over here. Okay, so I want to have it stick out a little bit. So I'm just gonna align this here like that. Peel. So you can see how it's nice and flat. Turn it upside down. Trim off these edges over here. Use the edge of your foam core. Just go slow because you don't want to cut into the foam core. Here's our surface of our Death Star wall. Now if we carefully take our room over here, place it like that. Do we see anything in there? The magic will really happen when we place this in front. Put some stormtroopers, put Darth Vader and Ben Kenobi inside. Before I glue this onto the floor, I'm going to tackle attaching my LEDs together using these splicing cables. Now, the reason I prefer these long ones instead of the short clips is because you have some play here that you can do U-turns or that you can manipulate, make shorter by wrapping it around, but you have the flexibility that you don't if it's just a piece of plastic that's either connected in a U like this or just one piece after the other. You'll notice that there's two little prongs here that stick out on the ends of each of the wires. It's as simple as finding your plus and minus, which is the red and black, and then finding your plus here on your LED strip and match the plus with the plus here. Peel back the front here just enough so that it clears the slot. Then you're going to put your plus copper on top of your plus red over here, and you're just going to press it in so that the little prongs stick in and that the tape doesn't stick to your hand. And then just close this and snap it shut just like that. Now it's secure. You now have one LED strip that goes into your connecting wire. So you'll be doing the same thing. Peel back. Your plus is over here, which aligns with the red. Place it in, press against the pins, and then shut the little trap here. Snap it shut. It's as simple as that. Now let's time lapse the rest of the connections. Okay, so now our lights are all connected in the rear and on the sides. Let's give it some power and see what happens. Oh, isn't that amazing? That is really cool. Now with these LEDs, you have a dimmer switch. So if you think this is too bright, you can always lower it. if you want, but I think the brightest is what makes it look really, really nice. The LEDs light up in the rear too. If you want to hide these, you can always use black electrical tape and see how this will hide the brightness on the outside. Though it doesn't really matter because this will be behind your exposed diorama, which is the front. For my version, I'm going to be placing this inside the real docking bay. So this wall I won't be using. I just used it for construction reference for you today. So mine will have a much taller wall over here that will go to the top of the docking bay area. Now if we compare it to the maquette, which was the 40% scale version that I used for reference, to the real thing, I think I did a pretty good job matching it. What do you think? And there you go. Your Vader versus Kenobi Jedi duel is now complete. I hope you enjoyed the build. If you do make it, please send me some photos. I'd love to see how it turns out. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and like and leave comments. I read all of them and I really appreciate the feedback. The next build will be the trash compactor. I hope to see you there. My name's Frank Diorio. Ciao for now. Thanks for watching dioramaworkshop.com. If you want to get in touch with me, send me an email at dioramaworkshop.com@gmail.com. You can also follow me on my social media accounts. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and tell your family and friends to check it out. For more diorama information, as well as 2 decades worth of official Star Wars Celebration Diorama Builders booth coverage, simply click on the link to warp to my dioramaworkshop.com website.